Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Hockey Tank Podcast. This is Sunday, September the 19th in gorgeous Newfoundland, Canada. My name is Trevor Blackler, and as always, I'm joined by the hilarious and handsome Stephen Hale. How you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for asking.
It's good. Let's
Today,
get
we'll be
going.
talking about some overrated and underrated players around the league, our favorite players on each team, and a brand new segment called NHL Newf of the Week. And end off the show with some division talk and some league news. Without further ado, let's get into the show. First, Steve and I are going to go through the league and name one forward, one defenseman, and one goalie we think to be overrated. Let's start with the overrated players. Who's one forward you think gets more buzz than they should?
Uh, you never really want to do overrated segment because somebody's gonna have something negative to say about your opinion. But it's my opinion, so I'm gonna go with Connor Garland of the Vancouver Canucks, recently a Coyote. The reason I chose him, I actually had Jamie Benn wrote down first, but I kind of felt like it was a slight to the guy. I mean, he's got Olympic gold and Art Ross, and I didn't feel too good about leaving him there. It just felt wrong. So I had to go with a guy who's not as decorated, I guess. I chose Connor Garland. He was a fifth round pick in 2015, 123rd overall to the Coyotes. And for him to even be in the NHL right now, I mean, shows a lot about the guy. So he obviously works hard and plays well. But let's go over the stats before I say
Yeah,
why I
that's
think
one
he's
player
overrated.
I'm kind of surprised. I wouldn't think that. I want to hear.
Yeah,
More about
well,
Connor Garland.
well, he came into the NHL in 18-19, and he played 47 games. He had 13 goals, 5 assists for 18 points. So I mean that's not a bad showing for a guy who's drafted in the fifth round, right? But 1920 he goes in, he plays 68 games, 22 goals, 17 assists, and 34 points. So I mean another respectable year. And this year he had 49 games played with 12 goals, 27 assists for 39 points in 49 games. That's pretty good. The reason I'm saying he's overrated is because pretty much you don't have a lot going on in Arizona. And when I'm watching any media covering Arizona, it's Connor Garland. They're talking about the guy like he's a superstar. In my eyes, he had one really productive year, which was this year, which was 39 points in 49 games played. He just signed a 5-year deal at 4.95, but we'll say 5 mil because it's basically 5 mil.
Yeah.
So 5 years at 5 mil for one season where he's 10 points below a point per game. I don't know. I find that's a bit of a long contract for a guy who's just breaking into the league. He is 25 years old, but it seems a bit risky. And Jim Benning's a guy that's known for giving out shitty contracts,
That's
more
right.
or
That might
less.
age badly. You never know.
And I mean, like, you got a guy like look at Taylor Hall. I mean, he's fucking won the heart. He's signed for 6 mil in this like cap shithole we're in right now this year with everything not going up and revenue problems. So I don't know. 5 times 5 is a lot for a guy who's just breaking in, and at best, I think he's on a good team. I think he's a second line forward. Not saying that second line forwards don't get paid 5 mil, but he's not like a guy like a Jordan Eberle or Jaden Schwartz. Somebody like that who's been a good top six for a while and probably what you're getting every year. I find moving from a team now, he's only ever been in Arizona. So for him to move, I don't think you know what you have there. So it was a bit risky.
Yeah.
I'd
I
like
would
that
have thought of
better if it
that.
was 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, something to give him to so he can prove himself. You're right. I would
See
have
what you
thought
got.
that I mean 10 points shy of point per game. I mean, what if it was an 82 season, he got 72 points?
Yeah, I think if it was 82 season, he might have dropped off, is what my thing is.
Okay. Yeah, I'd
Maybe
be
he's a
interested to
50-point
see.
guy. But we don't know, right? I mean, I just feel like he's a bit overrated right now. People are gassing him up a little bit too much for my liking. But I think he's a great player. And I mean, just because I got him on an overrated list doesn't mean I don't think he's a great player.
Yeah,
I'd love to
no,
have
this
him on
isn't
teams to cheer for.
yeah, this isn't what this is supposed to be. We're not calling any of these players shit or dog water, nothing like that. We're just, you think he gets too much buzz and he does, and I wouldn't have thought that, but yeah, I mean, in this age, where some superstars in the league are only getting paid 6 mil, and so to give a guy
Yeah.
just 1 mil shy of that, yeah, no, you're kind of suggesting that this guy should be
top 6 for a
up there
long
with the
time.
best of them. Yeah.
But I would have thought it would have been a lot better at probably 2 years of 5 mil because I mean, first time changing NHL teams as well. I mean, it's not only the hockey perspective. I mean, you got to fucking move everything, and I mean, it's just a big change in your life. So you don't know how he's going to handle that. And he might go this year and he might score 70 fucking points, and I might look like a fucking joke. But I don't know. I just thought it was a good choice. Somebody who's a little bit off the board who, does get a bit of buzz. So that's my
Yeah,
forward.
I like
Are
that.
we gonna discuss your forward? Or are we gonna move on to my defenseman? What do you think?
I know. I'll take mine now. All right, man. This might be a bit controversial to some people, but I'm saying Patrick Kane.
Oh,
Yeah,
Caleb.
I know. I know. The
Oh,
reason I say this is just because I don't know. I feel like his defensive game just takes away from his offensive. Like he's probably the best American forward for I don't know we've ever seen in the game. But I mean, just this defensive game. Like I'll run through some stats now for you. So in 2019, he played 70 games, had 33 goals and 51 assists for 84 points. Now that's an amazing season. That's
oh yeah,
14 points over point per game. So I mean,
yeah.
great forward. But he was only +8. So that means even with all those points, his line only got 8 more goals than they let in when he was on the ice. If we look at last season in 56 games, um, he got 15 goals, 51 assists for 66 points now. I mean, again, 10 points over point per game. So there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing broken with his offense at all.
No, definitely
But
not.
last season, he was -7. So even with those 66 points, there was still 7 more goals scored against his line. So, I mean, it might not be all him. It might be a shaky Chicago team last year. But I mean, um, like he never seen I don't know. His defense of the game just isn't great. Isn't
And I
best for
think you got a
me.
good point. But I think what people are going to argue to you is the team around him. But I do think you
Yeah.
have a good point because that is
All
a good
right.
way to look at it.
I was hoping you'd say that. So the only way this guy seems to stay positive is when he plays with Taves. So in all of his years, so his highest plus minus was +17 and 15-16. And this is when he was playing with Taves and they won a cup that year. So I mean
That's not a
the
high
team
plus minus either for the points the guy puts up.
I mean, I know he like that was probably one of his best seasons, but his lowest was -20 in 17-18.
Oh,
So I mean, 20 more goals are scored against you in a year. It's probably not all him. Like the team is, and it
yeah.
needs a lot of work. But just I don't know. That's why I think that a lot of people just overrate this guy. Just because if you're talking about like getting wins and losses, um, that kind of plus minus isn't getting you wins. That's costing you a lot of games in the long run. So I feel like fans, we overrate him. We look at him, say, Showtime, look at him selling, scoring highlight reel goals. But then I feel like the coaches and general managers around the league are really saying, like, this guy isn't as good. This guy isn't great for winning. He needs pieces around him. He's not like a Crosby or a McDavid.
No,
And I'll
and
just
that's
give
that's
you
right. That's right. He's not a Crosby or McDavid.
Yeah,
And
he doesn't make his team better. He scores highlight reel goals, and we fucking love it. I love it. He's one of
yeah,
my favorite players.
he is an amazing hockey player.
Yeah. So even
But
he is one of my favorite players, but I must say, in the hockey community, he is very overrated. I'll just give
and he
you
will. Anybody who scores goals like that is going to be
yeah,
talked out about as being the best at what they do. And I mean, he deserves that because he has a lot of talent. But defensively, he's not going to win a cup being the guy defend like to do it all. Like
yeah.
you said, like even like
I'll give you a
a
couple now. I'll give you a couple, and you can kind of just let them marinate.
all right.
So, all right, we're gonna look at the other 2 players from last season that got 66 points. So one was Matthews in 52 games. Um, well, he got all those points. Might not have looked the best in the playoffs, but he still had 66 points.
Fucking
But
Rocket Richard winner, man.
yeah, even on that defensively bad team, a lot of people would say Matthews was still a +21. That's better than um, Kane's highest year, even after winning a cup.
Oh,
So
he's really good defensively, man. He's
yeah,
like he's really underrated just because Matthews has the style of Patrick Kane. He can score some highlight reel goals, but he's actually really good defensively. And I don't think people talk about it enough, honestly. I think
he is.
it's criminally underrated for that. And he's a really good hockey player. That's why he's in a lot of people's top 4, top 5 centers, because he does have good defensive game. If you look at it, he can, steal pucks, stat soup like, and swing the play
Yeah,
back a place.
yeah.
So yeah.
And the other player that scored 66 last year was Rantanen in 52 games. He was a plus 30.
Yeah.
And I mean, Colorado is a bit better defensively than Chicago and Toronto. But still, those players put up a lot of points, and they're still defensively sound. So for that reason, I'm saying Patrick Kane is a little bit overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's a fair choice, man. But I think what people are going to say, if anybody responds, I mean, it would be the plus minus could be more of a team stat, reflect on a team more than a player. I feel like that's the argument they're
Well,
going to
yeah,
say.
it's a line stat. It's to do with the line on the ice, not necessarily the team, because you're always playing with usually the
Yeah,
same forward line, the same defensive line.
but your argument that was really good against that would be his highest plus minus in his full career is like plus 15. So I mean, like, that's not fucking amazing, right? So,
Yeah, plus 17, and that's with Duncan Keith at his highest, Seabrook,
yeah,
Crawford. That's with a
Jomerson.
fantastic team, and it's still not as great as some of the other players I mentioned. So
Yeah, that's a good pick. But I mean, he is still one of the best to do it. But I mean,
yeah, I know.
it's a good pick for right now because that's a good argument. So I'll give
Yeah,
you that.
I'm saying he's probably one of the, I don't know, best players that I would ever put on an overrated list. Like probably
He's
at the top.
amazing.
Yeah.
It almost feels bad to have him on this list because he's just such a
Well,
good player.
he's
one of the
it's
best.
not necessarily saying he's junk, he's garbage.
Or if
It's
you
just
like
saying
him.
that I think people give him more hype than he does. And like I said, like us as fans probably do the overrating. I think the coaches, GMs, and front offices around the league would see through that and say, this guy's not the best for,
We're the fucking
winning
problem.
hockey games, but Jesus Christ, can he ever score goals?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's give our picks for the most overrated defenseman in the league. Steve, I'll let you go first.
Sorry, Caleb. Seth Jones.
Oh man, Chicago's taking a beat.
Chicago, man. Fuck, man. Yeah, the Chicago's taking it in the bum tonight, definitely.
I was gonna have him on my list too, but he was number 2 on my list too of overrated defense.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear why you think he was number 1.
We'll go over his stats. 18, 19, 75 games played, 9 goals, 37 assists, 46 points. So good year for a defenseman. Nothing wrong with that. That's points. That's not his defensive game we're talking about. 19, 20, 56 games played, 6 goals, 24 assists, 30. Oh, very respectable season. And hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, man. My mic
I don't
just
know what
froze.
happened there.
Oh, no worries. We'll just keep going. So you heard 19, 20, 20, the 21, he had 56 games played, 5 goals, 23 assists, and 28 points, but he was a minus 18. So Chicago trades for him, first round pick, and was it Boquist? And another pick, I believe, went their way as well.
Oh,
They
it was
got
the
Seth
first and 2
Jones.
seconds, I believe.
Yeah, and Boquist. So
It was
that's
a
all I
lot to give up for Seth Jones.
It was a lot to give up, and then they
Do you know
got
how
him.
old he is? I think he's 26 too.
He is 26. Yeah, and
so they're getting him in his prime, but I mean, a lot to give up.
They signed him to an 8-year, $9.5 million contract.
Greasy.
Till he's 34 years old. Now, there's advanced stats on favor of this man so much. I don't have all the analytics on me, but I mean, if you're listening, you want to know, just look it up on Google. You can see all the advanced stats on the guy. And basically what I took from it when I did a little bit of research here is it shows that Columbus plays just as well defensively when he's not in the lineup compared to when he's in the lineup. He doesn't make a difference on a defensive game. Yes, he'll help. He'll throw in an assist here and there. He's pretty good at that, and he can get the puck off ice. But, I know a couple guys. Who am I going to think of? top of my head, defenseman who's good at getting the puck up ice. Travis Dermott makes like $2 million. I mean, he can get the puck up ice and he can get a few assists. He don't make $9.5 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a special quality for him to be paid that much. And I think it's actually Stan Bowman's probably one of the worst GMs in the league. Sorry, we're just absolutely
wrong. We're just shitting on Chicago.
Hale's not going to like this episode.
No,
but, I mean,
sir.
Can't you agree with me, though? I mean, 8 years, $9.5 million for a guy who's probably never going to win a Norris because he's not nearly good enough defensively to do it.
No, I told you that. I told you he was second on my list. I'd compare him to a Quinn Hughes type. He's great for offense. I mean, Quinn Hughes is even debatably better offensively than Seth Jones.
He's got more upside.
Yeah, two of them defensively. I mean, I don't know. There's just not that defensive instinct in them that they were taught defense. It doesn't come naturally to them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like when you look at all the aspects of how this went down, trade a young defenseman in Boquist. You signed him to $9.5 million for 8 years, so he's 34. You trade away several young players in those draft picks. It's a lot to give up for a team in Chicago that's trying to get back in, even though the window's closing.
Yeah, and I like how you pointed that out because I feel like a lot of players on these lists, they aren't overrated for their play if they were paid less or the team didn't have to give up so much to get these players. I feel like they wouldn't have those high expectations, but with Jones, where he's getting paid so much and Chicago gave up so much, I feel like that doesn't help with him. You know, like if he has a bad season next year, imagine the flack he's going to get. Whether, I mean, compared to if he was getting paid $5 million and they only had to give up a first and a prospect or something like that instead of what they had to give up.
There's a premium on defensemen, man, and it's actually kind of insane because I've seen defensemen come from the minors and play well. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to compare him to a fucking third line or third pairing defenseman because it's not fair. He's obviously on the first line. He's first pairing defenseman.
No, he's an elite defenseman.
He is an elite defenseman, but
and he's a big body. But I mean, that's a lot of money.
There's too many reasons or questions when you sign a guy to 8 years at such a fucking big cap hit. I mean, like, I don't know.
Imagine what he must have been asking for if Stan Bowman suggested, let's just sign you to 3 years. If he got 9.5 over 8.
Yeah, I don't understand.
He must have been asking for a lot of money for just to shorten that deal up. Anyway, Chicago sees something in him that we obviously don't.
No, we don't. But I mean, he's still a good defenseman. But nobody, Cale Makar, Victor Hedman are good at that price, not Seth Jones.
Yeah, no doubt.
Actually, a little thing here too. Zach Werenski signed almost the exact same deal, did he not? A relatively similar deal. He signed a $9-point-something million deal as well.
So, yeah, I like Werenski though. Werenski's good defensively and offensively.
I think Werenski's a better defenseman. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. For sure. Yeah, like I said, Tyson Barrie was second on my list, so I'll get to who was first. Or Jesus,
Seth Jones was your first.
Yeah, not a big,
not a big reveal.
So yeah, I don't think no even way to make a segue out of that. So Tyson Barrie is my most overrated defenseman in the NHL right now. I'll get into a couple of reasons why. Sorry, listeners at home, giving away that spoiler.
Is that a few beer?
Yeah, it doesn't help. So Tyson Barrie has just never been good defensively. He's always been a good offensive defenseman. He's like Quinn Hughes or Seth Jones, but I think he is just so bad defensively. And whether you're watching him, you can tell, or if you look at his stats. So I'll go over a couple here. So in his Colorado days, which I believe were from 11 or 12 to 2019, he played 484 games. He scored 75 goals and 232 assists for 307 points. That's great from a defenseman. If you can get a defenseman that, I mean, he's 180 points away from point per game. That's amazing. Yeah, that's good. But the thing that, I don't know, makes him not a good defenseman is over those years, he was negative 59. A negative 59 plus minus over those years.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of people on these lists, like for a lot of those years, he wasn't playing against the best in the world. He was playing against people's second lines or third lines, right? For a lot of those years, he wasn't first line until maybe 2016. So yeah, just that -59 is just amazing to me. That is crazy.
Yeah.
So then he goes to Toronto for a year, and in 70 games, he gets 5 goals and 34 assists for 39 points. I mean, not bad numbers from a defenseman.
I seen that firsthand, man. Like, I watched all those games that year,
Yeah,
as a Leafs fan, and I was really excited for Barry to come over. And we gave away Kadri, which I wasn't too upset about at the time because his playoffs, incidences and stuff like that. So I mean, I wasn't too upset. It was nice to get somebody else on the blue line.
yeah,
And I was watching him, man, and I don't know. It's just he's always in the wrong place at the wrong time in his own zone, and it kind of
seems
sucks
like it. Yeah,
because I know he can. If he's in the right place, he makes the right play. But I found he just not in the right place. So
I feel like he has a really hard time picking up the extra man. If there's
yeah,
a 2-on-2 situation, I feel like he can't stay with that other forward, and it oftentimes turns up
yeah,
into he just has he follows the puck. He doesn't follow his
the
man, or
play,
he doesn't have his
yeah,
defensive awareness.
yeah.
So yeah, so -7 with Toronto in 1 year. So I mean, that's, I don't know, not what you want
That
from
was
your
a
top
playoff
pairing
team, though. I mean,
defenseman.
like it's not like Toronto was a bad team either. I mean, they made the playoffs and they were good in the standings too. So I mean, a lot of guys were plus on that blue line.
True.
So
And then in Edmonton in 2020, 2021, uh, in 56 games, he gets 8 goals and 40 assists for 48 points. Almost point per game as a defenseman. You're not gonna that's very good. And it's his first time being a positive in 7 years. And he was +4 playing with McDavid. So
that's not
despite having
much
good,
either.
yeah, I know it's only 0.4, so
Yeah,
+4.
and
So
all the
they only
points they
scored,
scored, all the
I
points
know,
they scored. So
yeah.
yeah,
So he was only on the ice 4 times that they scored more than they let in. So despite having these good goal or point totals for a D-man, he struggles a lot on defense. It's not a trait you want from your top pairing defenseman, right?
no,
And in that year in Edmonton, almost half his points came from the power play, which is kind of a red flag for me because it says
oh
that
yeah, he's
he
yeah,
relies on those McDavid Draisaitl assists, that third
uh,
assist,
yeah.
passing it to McDavid, and then McDavid sets up Draisaitl for him to even be a positive player or get
It
any points. I think
it definitely
23 of his points came on the power play last year.
definitely pushed his stats up higher than what they would be if he played on a Dallas Stars or I don't know, Minnesota.
Yeah,
He
no
wouldn't be
doubt.
getting those points. So
Yeah, or if he was on a defensively minded team like New York Islanders, and
yes, man, that's a
they
good
weren't
choice.
scoring
Yeah.
5 goals every game, and he didn't have those 2 or 3 third assists.
Hmm.
Imagine his point totals and his plus minus; they would be horrendous.
He wouldn't be in the league.
He wouldn't be in the league. It's only because he's with Colorado, a powerhouse, Toronto, an offensive powerhouse, and Edmonton, a powerhouse offensively. He, I don't think he'd be a top
No.
pairing defenseman. He'd be a third pairing maybe if he was playing on a defensively minded
And
team
and
and he
there's a
wasn't getting those
reason
points.
there's a reason he plays on those teams because those general managers know that, and
Exactly.
you're not gonna get Lou trading fucking a first round pick for Tyson Berry to drop over
God
and
no.
get him on his fucking 28. There's a reason he's on those teams that are offensively inclined because he
He can get
plays.
the deep.
Yeah,
He can get the offense going. He's a great first pass,
yeah.
and he's great quarterback and power play, especially when you got McDavid and Draisaitl. So I don't think he leaves Edmonton, because if he leaves Edmonton, like, uh, I would feel bad for the guy.
So
I would probably
basically,
e-transfer him $5.
yeah, basically, any Minnesota fans or New York Islanders fans here, if you really like Tyson Berry, there's a chance you're not going to see him in that jersey anytime soon.
Yeah, very good. Yeah,
Very
well,
good
that's
points.
yeah, those are two very overrated defensemen. I would agree with
Yeah,
your pick, and I hope you agree
yeah,
with
man.
mine.
I do. I think that's two good picks. I think that's solid.
Yeah. So finally, we're going to talk about the most overrated goalie in the NHL. Take it away, Steve. Who you got?
Oh man, jeez, I'm just picking fun on teams that people are gonna think I'm very biased, man, towards the Leafs. But I got Jake Allen there
Okay.
actually from
All right.
Montreal. And I struggled to find an overrated goalie because I think if you're a goalie in the league, to a certain extent, I mean, there's only so many goalies in the league. You can't be that overrated. I don't know. I found it very hard to pick a goalie who was overrated. Anyways,
So
is
did
what I'm
I.
trying to
I had
say.
to I had to do some digging as well.
Yeah, and I looked around and I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, back a few weeks ago when Seattle was drafting their team, there was a big stir up about Carey Price waiving his no move clause so they could keep Jake Allen. I thought to myself, well, hold on, Jake Allen is fucking Jake Allen. He's not fucking Vasilevsky. Let me look into him a bit, and I found out that he's a good backup goalie. Sometimes, not all the
Okay.
time. And I'll read out some stats now to back up my point. And all right, 18-19. He played 46 games. He had 19 wins, 17 losses, and 8 overtime losses. He's 2 games above his losses, and he has 8 overtime losses. So I mean,
Oh, those hurt.
it's not great. He played 46 games, so he's kind of like a tandem situation that year.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that's the year before Bennington came, or was it the year Bennington came? I'm not sure. I
I
think that was the
mean,
year Bennington came.
yeah, and it would make sense if Jake Allen was the starter, and then in February he came in Bennington anyway and just stole
Yeah.
the show.
So, anyways, he had a 2.83 goals against average and a 905 save percentage. Those aren't great numbers by no means. He did play a lot of games, but just because he played a lot of games doesn't mean he had great numbers.
Yeah. Before you go any further, I think around the league, just a .920 save percentage is considered elite. If you can steadily keep a .920,
Yeah,
I think that would. Anyway, yeah.
yeah,
So anything under that, I consider not elite and not bad. Anything over 900 though in the NHL, you're a pretty good goalie. But
yeah. But if you're sitting in the low, if you're sitting anywhere from 909, we'll say down, you're not having an amazing year. You're just stopping
no,
pucks. You're not stopping anything more than you have to, basically.
exactly. Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll move on. 1920, he played 24 games. Uh, was 1920? I didn't have it wrote down. Is that when he went to Montreal for? I think so.
That could have
No,
been,
it's
yeah.
not. No, it's not. I don't
No?
think so. Is it? Anyways, that's not my point. 24
Well,
games
if he had
played.
24 games, it would make sense in either team because I mean Bennington or Carey Price would have played the majority of the games.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, I don't think it was. He was definitely in St. Louis then, I think,
yeah, I
because
think it was St.
he would
Louis.
not have played that many games with Carey Price
No,
if Carey Price was healthy.
especially in a
Anyway,
56 game season or whatever. No, that wasn't
exactly.
56. It was around 62, I think, when the COVID stuff came on to go. Anyways, that doesn't matter. We'll skip that. 12
Yep.
wins, 6 losses, 3 overtime losses. He's 6 above his losses. So I mean, that's a pretty good year. I mean, 12 and 6 and 3 is not bad. I mean, it's a really respectable year. 215 goals against average. So I mean, that's a lot better than the 283. And he had a 927 save percentage. So he had a very solid year that year. So I mean, I'm probably sure they were thinking, well, we got a pretty good goalie here when Montreal
Mm-hmm.
signed him.
Yep.
Comes into Montreal 2021. He plays 29 games. He's 11, 12, and 5.
Oh,
So he lost one more than what he won. 2.68 goals against average and a 907 save percentage. So he dropped back down to that 18-19 year basically. I think he's a good backup at times, and other times I think he's not. And I don't know why Canadians fans are drooling over this guy. I don't know. I feel like Caden Primo is probably going to be a better goalie than him very soon. And
yeah. I
um,
think they're just waiting for Primo to come on to his own.
And it's not like you can't go out and get a backup in the off season for a fucking 2 or 3 mil and sign him for a couple of years, and he'll put up just as good numbers. So the fact that they were always talking about Jake Allen in Montreal, I mean, like, it's Jake Allen, man. You don't have like a superstar there. You got Carey Price, he's your guy. It's just stop talking about Jake Allen. He doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I wouldn't have
I
thought of
think
it,
he's
but
overrated.
yeah, and I mean you're right because you know how I know because I never even looked into him. I always just took the word like a lot of people think Jake Allen's good. I bought into the hype. I didn't look at his stats when we were
Yeah, I mean, he's not
preparing
that
for this
good.
video at
He's
all.
not that good, man. Like, fuck, man. I think I'd almost if you had Michael Hutchison in that, I mean, what's the big difference? Nah, wait, that
Yeah.
might be a stretch,
Uh,
but I don't
you
know.
know
I just
what?
don't see the hype.
You know what? I bought into the hype because I'm biased too because he used to play for the Fog Devils. Did you know that?
No, I never.
He used to play for the Fog Devils and my he came to one of my buddy's school once and came there with his woman And apparently he had a fucking rocket of a misses back in the day
Oh,
when he was
jeez,
playing for
man.
Fog Devils. Imagine.
Oh yeah, well, definitely, man. I
So
mean,
I was biased. So I didn't even look into him at all.
yeah, I think
If
he's a
you
bit
told me
overrated.
he
That's
was
my
your
opinion.
underrated goalie, I would have been like, fine by me, boy. Tell me
Yeah,
some stats. But no, those stats are definitely compelling because those aren't great stats, especially if you're
not
playing in a
amazing.
backup role. Like his role is to give Carey Price a break or
And when
Jordy
he's
Binnington a break and just like get a couple wins. But
and when he's
he,
giving him a break, he's not really giving him much of a break. He's making their
yeah,
job
I
more
knew he
difficult.
wasn't a great starter,
Hmm.
but I thought he was a good backup.
Yeah, so I
And I
mean,
mean, he's probably playing against the weaker teams in the league too, if
yeah, well,
he's
I
in a
mean, they're going to
backup
start
role.
him. They're going to start him against, the teams at New Jersey or,
Yeah, they're not starting him against Colorado, or I guess in
no,
the they were starting him last year against like Ottawa, Vancouver, Calgary. They weren't starting him against Edmonton or Toronto.
no, man, because you look at that stuff and you're like, what gives us a better chance to win, and what days can we give Carey a break? So it kind of
Exactly.
lines up that way, and those aren't great numbers, man. So I just think everybody needs to jump off the Jake Allen hype train because he's a good goalie, but why are you talking about him any more than like Boston's backup goalie? Like he doesn't matter anymore. Then I'm just basically just ruining this guy's fucking parade.
Yeah, holy shit, this guy might go
Yeah,
into
he's like,
a little
man,
depression after listening to the Hockey
yeah,
Tank podcast.
yeah. He's like, man, these boys really hates me, man. Why do they hate
Yeah.
me so much? I don't hate
Well,
him, man. I just
no,
don't.
I think it's pretty even. You said he's shit and it's the worst goalie in the league, and I'm saying he's got a rocket of a misses. So
You got to
it's
pick on
balancing.
somebody. You got
It's
to pick on
balancing out
somebody.
here pretty good, honestly. He's getting
Yeah,
some compliments and then just getting tore down to shreds. So
yeah. So.
I'm not gonna do my overrated goalie any favors too. And one of the reasons I'm wearing all the get up is because my pick is Frederick
Oh,
Anderson. My pick is
oh,
Freddie Anderson. Um, so I'll run through some quick stats with you here. So in 1920, he played 52 games, had 29 wins, 13 losses. So I mean, that's really good. He's winning like double the games that he's losing. His shots against was 1,577 with a save percentage of .909. That's really good. And I'll let you kind of just think about that last couple numbers I gave out, just the 1,577 shots against, and how he did so good. And then in 2020, 21, he only played 24 games, 13 wins, and 8 losses, which I mean is still pretty good. He's still winning more than he's losing, but he only faced 668 shots last year, and he had a .895 save percentage. Um,
yeah. That
to me,
was
this is a goalie that definitely benefits from playing behind a bad defensively team, like in Anaheim when he was there before Toronto. He was facing on average more than 2,000 shots per year. Uh, that's a lot of shots in a season. So just bringing a little math into the show here, if I'm allowed to do
yeah, man.
that, is the more shots you take, the higher your save percentage is going to be. See, if a goalie gets 100 shots a game, and I mean, even if he lets in, geez, I'm not a math guy, but
10.
20
It'll still be
goals, that's
900.
still
Oh,
a 80% save percentage.
yeah,
Even though he let in 20 goals, just
yeah.
because he had a higher number of shots. So for that reason, it seems like he does really benefit off of getting a lot of shots, and he does seem shaky. And I mean, honestly, I don't want to point a finger at anyone, but I'm kind of blaming EA Sports for this, where they're just so Toronto biased.
Mhm.
They made his overalls like always like
88.
87, 88 overall. And
Yeah,
I mean, when he clearly didn't deserve it, he was just a Toronto goalie.
yeah.
Um, so, I mean, he was a good goalie for a couple years, but in the last few years, he fell off to me, especially last year, seeing that
That
like
was a tough year.
when he doesn't face a lot of shots, his save percentage plummets. Um,
And you
and
know
I,
what? You're exactly right, man, because I've watched a lot of Toronto games. I watch every Toronto game every year.
mhm.
And when you're watching the Toronto game and Toronto's got possession for fucking like 3 or 4 minutes and like they keep and when they come back down to Toronto zone, it's like puck around the boards, rim it around the boards, it's out, and then they got possession for another 3 or 4 minutes of the period. And you're looking there, and I'm thinking to myself, well, Freddie hasn't got a shot in 8 minutes, So I mean, when they come down, they're gonna fucking score. He's that type of goalie where if the defense is worse, he's playing better because he's getting more of those shots and
He's staying hot.
he's in the zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as Toronto became better, he got worse. And
yeah,
when he first came to Toronto, defense was a bit worse. They had, excuse me, burping a bit. They had Roman Polak, Matt Marinson. I mean, like, these are guys that shouldn't even be eligible for beer league. They're that fucking garbage. I mean, they got no teeth in their mouth. They're the ugliest looking things I've ever graced the earth. So I don't know. It's just he's just that type of goalie. He needs to be in the zone more or less. And if you got him sitting back there, he's the time when they come down and shoot, he's just gonna mess up, and that's just the way it is, unfortunately. And so that's the reason why I had Carolina down as well in my standings, because I looked and they had Freddie and who was the other one, Ranta.
Yep.
And I was thinking to myself, like, Carolina is one of the best defensive teams in the league. Anderson would be better on Buffalo.
Yeah.
For that
probably.
reason. Like what we're saying.
You're right. You know what? I didn't think about this when I was putting together our division rankings. You're right.
So I did because I'm a Leafs fan. I knew he moved there, but I completely agree with you 100%. And I think that's a really good choice. And it sucks because he can be a good goalie, but if he doesn't get the shots, he's not going to be. So that's my point of view.
And some goalies are like that. Like Freddie Anderson benefits off of, lots of shot, got to stay hot. And then you look at Grubauer, and he was one of the best goalies. And I mean, some games he was only facing 20 shots a game. And I think he had the record last year for the most shutouts around the league. So, yeah, absolutely right.
That's
anyway, but yeah, you too, buddy. Let's get into some underrated players. I like this a lot more because I like building people up more and shitting on them. Even though I don't mind shitting on a couple
I mean,
people.
You said in the first episode you wanted to start this podcast so you could talk about the shit on the internet. So
yeah, I mean, I meant to shoot the shit, but I do enjoy talking a bit of shit as well. So, all right, so yeah, let's get into our underrated players. So these players are often underrated just because they fly under the radar because they're overshadowed by superstars on their team, or they're not paid enough money, or just they bring some intangibles that aren't recorded on the scoreboard, so they kind of, fly under the radar. Let's start with forwards again, Steve. I'll let you start us off on this one.
All right. This is a guy I love. He's one of my favorite players in the league, and it doesn't make any sense why when we talk about the best players in the game right now, we talk about McKinnon, we talk about McDavid, we talk about Matthews, Kucherov, just the best players in the game to everybody. I think we're missing somebody. I think that's Braden Point. The dude's been the first line center for 2 cups. He surpassed Stamkos on that team, the captain, Stamkos, the guy who scores 50 or 60 goals, used to, a season. He comes in, he takes over that. He was a 3rd round draft pick. So, I mean, he wasn't like a highly touted prospect. I mean, the dude's worked for everything he got. It's not like he went into Arizona where there was no center depth and he just kind of got offered a job. He worked, man. He worked for everything he got.
That was a hard team to make, too.
Yeah, it's hard to make, and he made it, and then eventually he became better than everybody else, in my opinion. I think he's the best player in that team besides Hedman. I do. I really think he's the best player.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think he's better than Kucherov. I do.
That's a hot one. That's a spicy little pick there, my buddy.
He's good defensively, man. He's good defensively.
He is. I think
and
so
he's
too.
Good offensively, and
I think that's the reason probably he passed Stamkos, because Stamkos is all offense, Kucherov all offense. They needed someone to kind of balance that line out.
And I think if you don't have Braden Point on that team, I don't think you win 2 Stanley Cups. I don't think you win 1 Stanley Cup, because you need that guy, like similar to Ron O'Reilly. Teams who won cups recent years, they got that centerman that they can trust, man, to be in any situation.
Fucking playoff player. Massive playoff player.
You need the centerman when you're on playoff runs that you can trust to play in any situation. Ron O'Reilly, Braden Point, Backstrom with Washington, he can play in any situation, man. Crosby, I mean, Taves was a guy when Chicago was winning. Kopitar when LA was winning. I mean, you got to have that centerman on there.
Right. Yeah.
So and Braden Point was that for Tampa. It wasn't Stamkos, it wasn't Kucherov.
Stamkos was injured a lot the first cup they won, or was it the second
Yeah,
one?
it was the first one. Yeah,
Yeah.
and anyways, we'll get to some stats here. I got a couple cool stats. 18-19, he played 79 games played, 41 goals, 51 assists, 92 points. This dude puts up 92 points in 79 games.
Yeah.
That's elite. He could have won an award that year.
You're right.
He never,
Yeah.
but he could have.
Yeah, he's not in the talks when we talk about
He's
the
not in. No
best
man.
players, but yeah, 90
and it
point
sucks.
season's not to shake a stick at. You're right.
No man. In 1920, he had a 66 games played, 25 goals, 39 assists for 64 points, 2 points under a point per game. Still amazing player. Like even to be in the realm of point per game, I mean, it's just shows how good of a hockey player you are. We go into 2021, 56 games played, 23 goals, 25 assists, 48 points. So he's a nice bit below point per game, but he had a long playoff run the year before they won the cup.
Did.
And it was a short off season and they were probably like, celebrating, drinking and stuff. So he didn't have much time to get back into game shape probably, right? So, I mean, I think that interfered with his point total, so I wouldn't look too much into that. And this cool fact
but I mean, it doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. They
no, he's a playoff guy.
Man. Yeah.
And he's a big reason for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This cool fact I found online actually when I was doing a bit of research on the guy because I wanted to have a little bit of a research behind me when I talked about it. I found a tweet NHL made. It was centers to record 12 plus goals in consecutive Stanley Cup playoffs in NHL history. Wayne Gretzky, 84-85. Lemieux, 91-92. Braden Point, 20-21.
And that's the only ones.
And actually, he surpassed Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux because he had 13 plus goal playoff runs consecutive years.
Unreal.
And he passed Mario Lemieux and Gretzky for that, and there's no other players in NHL history to do that. So, that tells a lot about the guy. And when it was when Lemieux was playing and Gretzky were playing, you talked about them every year for awards. Why aren't we talking about this guy? He completely deserves it, man. I think he's going to win an award. I think maybe in a year or two, he could win a Hart. He could win something like that. And he deserves
I hope
it,
so.
man.
I'd love to see it. And I think that's a case where he's just overshadowed by how many superstars they have on that team.
Yeah, and it sucks because he's a really good player, and he could have won Conn Smythe either of those years they won the cup. I think if they won it last year or this year, I don't think people would argue too much about Braden Point winning the Conn Smythe. I would.
I think the first year, especially, I was saying it's definitely the Braden
insane point totals. He didn't have
Victor Hedman.
He didn't have as many points this year, but he still was a point per game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's insane what he's doing, and it's not insane what he's doing. It is insane, but it's the moral of the story is that he's not being talked about enough for what he is achieving in the league. So
yeah, I mean, like you said, just being a third round pick and having to not get those reps because if you're a first rounder, you're going to training camp, but he was probably overlooked in training camp and just said, fucking third rounder, get back to juniors, have another good year for yourself, and we'll see next year. So he worked his ass off probably to even get to training camp, then had to beat out, just some bigger, better players.
Then he's got to work his way up Tampa Bay lineup, which is not easy to do.
Yeah, and you know what? I can't remember ever hearing about him on the fourth, third line. He's as soon as he came into Tampa, it seemed like he was ready to go.
Yeah, he's a good player, man, and it sucks because he's not talked about enough. Definitely. So
I think you're right, though. In the coming years, we're gonna start looking at him like a top 10 player. I think.
Yeah, and he's probably a top 10 player, honestly, or he's top 12 because he's right there with him. He makes $9 million a year now.
Yeah,
he's good.
Deservingly. Yeah. Great pick, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think my pick would have to be Nick Backstrom from the Washington Capitals.
And he's always been underrated ever since he came
his whole career.
It's criminal.
I was looking at his stats. I'm gonna get to it later. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How this guy is still flying under the radar.
I don't understand it, man. The dude's like one of the best Swedes to ever play behind Sundin and Forsberg and Lidstrom, right?
Yeah. So for my money, the best playmaker in the league for the last decade or more. Since I don't know, 2009, 2010, probably the best for my money. And I know a lot of people are gonna say like, oh, he just passes to Ovi and Ovi does all the work, and stuff like that. And that's a sin because last year, he played 15 games. He had 15 goals, 38 assists for 53 points. And a lot of that season, Kuznetsov was on the first line, meaning he played second and third line time.
Yeah.
And he still put up 38 assists, even without getting the top minutes. I mean, he was still on the power play, but I think he only scored like 15 or 20 of those points on the power play this year, which is just insane, playing like second line and just being as defensively responsible as he is. The same thing we were talking about with Kane playing with Taves. Like, you need that defensive guy, or Point playing with Kucherov to kind of balance it out. Backstrom has been that right hand man to Ovi
forever,
throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read out some stats. So as of today, Backstrom has 5 60 assist seasons.
Unbelievable.
That's 300 assists right there, just in 5 seasons. So he has 5 60 assist seasons, 4 50 assist seasons, 3 40 assist seasons, and has never scored less than 30 assists in a season. For these unreal stats, I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves, and he never has. Imagine those stats. So in 12 years, like that he's played, or even more than that, actually, he's played more than 12. He's never got less than 30 assists. And that's not even talking about his goals. He chips in, 15, 20, 30 goals in his year, somewhere in that range. So, I mean, he's probably the most underrated player that I've seen in my lifetime. I know there's probably a lot of guys.
You know what's written all over that? Hall of Fame. This dude's Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame career, no doubt.
I remember being a kid and talking about this guy, saying he's underrated. Hall of Famer, man. He's been so good for so long. He doesn't have off years, man. Every year he brings it. He's always in shape, man. He's ready to go every year. And he's consistent, man. He's a leader. If Ovi wasn't there, he'd have been the captain long ago.
Oh, yeah.
It's just unbelievable that you bring that up, because I thought about him, actually, but I figured that was too easy. And it actually sucks for me to say that, because I'm not even bringing him up my underrated list, just how much we don't talk about him.
Exactly. I couldn't not put him here. I hate to do it because it's such an easy pick, but I just felt like
we don't talk about him in any situation.
Need to hear those stats. I mean, it's unreal how many assists he gets. 100%. Yeah, I think him and Ovi should get it inducted together, because that's a sick 1-2 punch, and it's one of the most iconic duos in the last 12 or 14 years we've seen in the league. Patty Marleau, Thornton, that kind of duo is what we're talking here.
Does the guy even go to All-Star games, man? Does he even get an invite?
Yeah, you're right. I think they can only pick a player from each team, and I think it's usually Ovi.
There's certain years though they take 2. So I feel like he's been in the All-Star game, but there's no way he's been he's been in there enough for a guy who gets 60 assists a year. I mean, he should be there every year, locked down, solid.
It might be the same thing as Crosby though. He might just be turning it down, because I know Crosby did that for a lot of years. He didn't want to go to the All-Star game.
Yeah. Well, look at it like this, man. They invited Leo Komarov one year. If Backstrom wasn't invited, man, they should be putting fucking Gary Bettman in jail or whoever.
Yeah, I heard actually Backstrom backed out one year because John Scott said he was going to beat the wheels off him if he showed up to that All-Star game.
Nice fellow.
Yeah, no. Anyway, now the defenseman. I think we've got our forwards, and I like that pickup rating point. I think
I like the pick of Backstrom too. Yeah, those were 2 really good picks.
Little virtual high five I'll send over to Corner Brook.
Yes, man.
I'll send it via email, maybe. So anyway, on the defenseman. So which D-man do you think never gets the praise that they deserve?
Well, I think I picked a guy who's just starting to not get the praise he deserves. He's just coming to be one of the best players. Not the best players, but one of the really good players in the league. I got the Arizona Coyotes, Jacob Chicherin.
I think that's how you say it. I like it. Tell us why.
Well, I'll go over the stats. In 18-19, he played 53 games, 5 goals, 15 assists, 20 points in 53 games. I mean, that's good for a defenseman. 19-20, 63 games played, 12 goals, 14 assists, 26 points. Slow rise, but he's rising. 20, 21, 56 games played, 18 goals, 23 assists, 41 points, 56 games last year on an Arizona team. That's
He was
fucking
amazing last year.
dirt on a dirt team.
Yeah.
Arizona is like every year, man, there's something on to go in Arizona. It's like, oh man, we're starting another rebuild now just as well. Like it's unbelievable how they're so bad for so long and
I
they
know.
still
Tell me about it.
they still
And as
find
soon as you
players to come
think
up
they're on
though.
the come up, they get
Yeah.
Keller and Chikrin
Yeah.
and all these players. They're finally starting to gel. And then they just tear it all down again.
And let's
Chikrin's
tear it
been-
down again. Let's tear it
I mean,
down.
he's going to be the backbone of that team. He's going to be the one thing they can look at their lineup and say, yep, he's consistent forever. You know, you look at hot dog
Yeah.
Phil Kessel, you're saying, oh, he had an off year. You look at Clayton Keller, the rookie comes in,
Yeah.
has a 65-point season, and then drops off. You're like,
Yeah.
fuck. And then you look at
Yeah.
Chikrin, and I mean, he's been the strong point of that team. He's been a backbone there. So I think you're right.
And he will be forever, man. He was the best defenseman on the team last year. He's
You
better
think he
than
gets
captain.
to see now that OEL's gone?
I think he does, and I think it shouldn't even be a debate of who gets to see. He's a really good two-way defenseman. He's not outstanding in offensively or defensively. There's no one area that he really strives at better than the other, but he's just a good all-around two-way defenseman, man. They drafted him in the first round. He's fucking Canadian. Good old Canadian kid, I think. So
Good old Canadian boy. He's from the WHL. He played out west, didn't he?
I think so, man.
so.
Anyways, he was from Canada, so I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, the guy plays a solid game, and he's not making mistakes. He's getting the puck up ice, and I don't know. You need him. You need a guy like that in every blue line, and for him to get 41 points, 56 games last year is just it's just a start, I think. Because I mean, I could sit here and say, well, Arizona's only going to get better because they can't get much worse, but I don't really believe that because I feel like when they get better in 3 or 4 years, they're going to be like, well, rebuild. We'll start again.
Imagine they did that. Holy fuck. I think every Coyotes fan would just say,
Yeah, that's
where's the
it.
next closest team? We can't do this. This is fucked.
I don't even know if Arizona stays in Arizona because of all this.
Arizona's going to be the
arena
worst
stuff.
team in the league this year. I'm going to say that every podcast.
What about Buffalo?
Buffalo's going to be better than Arizona. But Chicken is still going to be, he's their golden boy, I think.
Yeah, and he's a really good young player, man. He's not that old. I believe he's like 24 or something like that. 20. He's early 20s, man. He's got a lot
drafted
of
in
time.
2016, wasn't he? Or that was his rookie year. So maybe he was drafted before 2015 or something.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of time to get better too. And I mean, I don't know. I just there's something about him that screams like one Norris. Norris. Not like a Norris every year, but like give him that year where he gets Norris and maybe he builds himself a solid like potential Hall of Fame career. He's not going to do it in the desert, so he better get his trade request in. But
anywhere else he played, he wouldn't be as underrated as he is if he played in, an original six market or a Canadian team.
Imagine if this dude played in Toronto, 41 points, 56 games as like a 23, 24-year-old defenseman.
Probably would have won the Norris because he would have had more press, more people talking.
There'd be fucking Chikrin. They'd be raising the Chikrin jersey to the rafters already. That's how something they'd be.
No, man, they'd be saying he was shit. This guy's fucking shit. He didn't even get point per game. Trade him, Dubas. Man. That's what they'd be saying over in Toronto.
Yeah, but all the same though, to make a point to not shit on Arizona. I mean, John Chayka did absolutely fuck that group when he lost all the first round picks. So they kind of didn't have much of a choice, especially when Hall wouldn't sign, and everything's been shit there since. But great defenseman, and he's my choice.
Great pick. Yeah, he is definitely underrated. My guy here is Charlie McAvoy, and I know he does get a lot of praise because he is in that big market and the top defenseman on that team. But he's just an unreal demon that doesn't really chip on a whole lot of offense, but still, actually, he still gets a nice bit of assists in there. But the reason I think he's underrated is just how good 5-on-5 he is and how good defensively he is. So he's played 4 years in Boston. And in those 4 years, he's played 235 games. He's got 24 goals, 98 assists for 122 points. That's almost half a point per game, which isn't bad for a defenseman, especially when you got a plus 80 in those years. So, I mean, on average, he's getting
plus 80.
Yeah. So that's on average plus 20 every year.
That's like amazing.
Yeah. And a stat that jumped out on me too is his power play points in those 4 years. is only 19.
That's not much.
Imagine how great this guy is 5-on-5 for. He's got 122 points. So more than 100 points in those 4 years has come 5-on-5. He doesn't rely on power play points to, pad his stats. This guy is fantastic point producer 5-on-5, and he's a great defenseman too.
He's not a Tyson Berry.
No, not by a long shot, buddy. Not by a fucking long shot. The reason I think this guy's overrated is, yes, he gets a lot of praise.
Underrated.
He's never, yeah, Jesus, sorry, buddy. He's never talked as like a top 10 defenseman in the league. You got your Victor Hedmans and Cale Makars, and even Quinn Hughes sometimes sneaks on that list when he's not that great of D-man. I think a guy like Charlie McAvoy deserves a spot in those lists over a lot of players that sneak on there.
He's making his way up there.
Oh,
he
100%.
is making his way
I think
up
he
there.
should be. I think he should be top 7 in the league.
Yeah,
he's proved it for 4 years now. He's very consistent. On average, I think he gets about 30 points a year from a defenseman. So he's defensively sound and offensively consistent, and that's why I think he's one of the best defensemen in the game, and just doesn't get the respect he deserves.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Those are all good points. To have that plus minus the way it is, I mean, the dude doesn't make many mistakes.
He's never been a minus in his career. He's always been on average like plus 20, and for I think 2 or 3 of those years, he was on the top pairing. So he's always playing against the best players in the league. He's always playing against people in his divisions.
I mean, he had to step up, man, because Boston lost a few pieces over the last few years.
Chara, Krug, they lost those really good defensive players, and they needed McAvoy to step in and fill that role.
Well, I wouldn't say Krug is a much
I wouldn't say Krug either,
player, but I mean, they did lose players. They lost. There were some pieces on that blue line that they've lost, and somebody had to step up. And he did that, and he's definitely making a name for himself. And he's one of those players, kind of like Chicherin. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah,
he could win. He's not going to be a guy like Makar. I think Makar could probably got 2 or 3 Norses in him, man. That's how good he is. But he's one of those guys who could sneak a Norse in before he retires and have a potential Hall of Fame career.
I think so too. I mean, if Boston pops off, it's just not the point total's not there. Like I said, he only gets 30 points a year.
Yeah, but it's they shouldn't look at it like that for defensemen. I mean, if he gets 30 points a year, he's a plus 40. I mean, he's an amazing player, so it shouldn't be judged on point totals when it comes to defensemen. So
that's right.
I don't think that's very fair. I think he's a great defenseman too.
All right, I like your pick, and I like my pick.
Yeah, those are some solid underrated picks.
Yeah, my pick's on the line. I like your pick because he's not even close to a top 10 nomination, whereas McAvoy is. But yeah, I just think he should be higher on that list, and that was my reason. But anyway, let's take it to the crease, Steve. Who's the most underrated tendy in the league right now, in your opinion?
I was waiting for this. Minnesota, Cam Talbot.
All right.
This guy is a fucking beauty, man.
Let's hear about it. Let's fucking hear about it. I wouldn't have picked this guy.
No, nobody would have. Nobody would have.
That's how underrated he is.
Nobody watches Minnesota, right? So Minnesota, Cam Talbot, man. This guy is a fucking all-star. Should have been an all-star game if they had one. I want to say he's been in the NHL a long time. He's bounced around a bit. New York Islanders. Not New York Islanders, New York Rangers, Oilers, Philly, Calgary, now Minnesota. So the dude's been around. The dude's had to change his postal code a few times. There's no fucking doubts about that. So I wouldn't want to this guy must hate fucking getting mails. Every year he's got to fuck around changing all his bills. And,
he's got to tell his neighbors, fuck, look out for my mailbox. She's probably overfilled because I'm fucking in a different state.
Yeah, so poor guy when it comes to that. But there was a year, I don't have it wrote down. I'm going to go off the top of my head and say it was 16.
That's all right, buddy. That's what we do. We don't spit facts here. We say shit and hope it's right. Let's hear it.
Yeah, basically, I think it was 16, 17. He had 42 wins with the Oilers, and that's when he was in conversation of this guy's really fucking good. Then it goes from, I'm going to read this out now. His last year in Edmonton, he played 31 games. 10 wins, 15 losses, 3 overtime losses, 3.36 goals against average, and an 893 save percentage. Absolutely horrendous numbers.
Yep, dog shit.
Excuse me. He got traded to Philly, and he played 4 games in Philly. 1 win, 2 losses, 1 overtime loss, 370 goals against average, and an 881. He was even worse in Philly, believe it or not.
That's fucked. Almost 4 goals per game in 4 games. That's rough.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And he was considered to be a starting goalie at one point. And he kind of lost it, and he was kind of in the territory of like, is this dude even an NHL goalie anymore for a couple of years? And it was kind of shitty because I always liked Cam Talbot. I always thought he was a pretty good goalie. And 1920 rolls around. He signs in the offseason with Calgary on a 1-year deal. He plays 26 games, 12 wins, 10 losses, 1 overtime loss, 2.63 goals against, and a 919 save percentage. So he's getting back to those good numbers. Like he
like
we were saying earlier,
that's almost elite.
Yeah, I mean those are good numbers. I mean, he did only win 2 more games than what he lost, but at the same time, Calgary was no powerhouse.
Yeah.
So he had pretty decent numbers in a 1-year deal with Calgary. So that was good for him to get his career back on track. Then the mastermind himself, Bill Guerin, comes out. Oh, here's the cat.
Hey, Magic. Get up in that window, girl. Go look at the crackheads.
What was I saying? He comes in Calgary on a 1-year deal, and he plays well, man, and he deserves another NHL role. And the genius Bill Guerin himself says, we're going to bring this guy in as a new starter because Devin Dubnyk's gone. So we need a guy who's going to be a fucking absolute stud. And what did he do? Bill Guerin doesn't make mistakes. He signed him. He came in. He played fucking amazing. 19 wins, 8 losses, 5 overtime losses in 33 games. Hit a 915 save percentage and a 2.63 goals against average. 33 games of 56 game schedule. That's like majority of the games. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
He was injured for a while
Way
too.
over half.
So he was injured for a while too. So when he wasn't injured, he was playing a lot. And man, he had a really good year. And I was blown away watching him, man. He made those saves you didn't think he could make. And he wasn't brought up once in anything. I don't necessarily think he had a Vezina year, so I understand why he wasn't brought up. But I felt like he had a few bad years, and everybody kind of just wrote him off. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's too quick. He came back, and he's having some good years now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has an even better year this year. Because Minnesota is that type of team too, really good defensively. They don't give up much, and what they do give up, she's fucking gone insane. What they do give up, he ends up making that save. So
yeah,
I found it kind of hard to find an underrated goalie too. I don't know why. I just found this list hard to make. And
goalies are hard to judge, man.
Yeah,
because a lot of people will write off goalies, and I'm sitting here like, why are you calling this goalie shit? And then I'll look at the advanced stats, and it's like, oh fuck, this goalie is shit.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people was like, this goalie's best in the world, or like the best backup goalie in the league. And then the guy loses like fucking 6 more games than he won. It's like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? So yeah, goalies have hard. Man. Yeah, I just want to slow the show down a bit to remind our listeners at home how passionate that was. You're really making a case for Cam Talbot, aren't you?
Yeah, man. And I'm sorry because I want to apologize, man, because the cat was like going insane and confusing me. And I was kind of just rambling, absolutely rambling fucking garbage. I was talking about like his wife and his postal code, and like I never talked about his wife. I'm thinking about his wife or something. Anyways, dude.
Mrs. Calvert. No, so for our listeners, if you just want to go back a couple minutes and put the show on like half speed or something so you can actually listen.
I was absolutely going, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know. I'm very passionate about the man. I think he's a great goaltender. So we're gonna slow this down a bit now and take it out of the intense.
As Adam Sandler would say, we're gonna take it at a medium pace.
Yeah, definitely. I went too crazy there. I got a little bit too excited, so I got to calm my nerves.
I got into it though. That was like cocaine for me. I was like,
I was going, man. I don't know, man. I just read that name on my paper, and I was just like, Cam fucking Talbot, Minnesota.
As soon as I asked you who your underrated goalie was, you were like, I've been waiting fucking years for this, buddy. Let me go.
So, and a more even-keeled note, good goalie.
I'm sorry.
No, man. Good goalie. Probably not going to win a Vezina, but, I'll definitely get a Cam Talbot poster to put up my room if my girlfriend doesn't tear it down.
Let's go. Yeah, he's
So,
definitely one of the goalies that doesn't have the name recognition. Like you're talking about the best goalies, and if someone says Cam Talbot, like you take a double take, you're like, what the fuck did you just
who
say?
the fuck is Cam Talbot, man?
Yeah,
But
it's
he's
like
a starter. He's not elite, we'll say. But I was like looking at this list. I'm like, where can I put a guy from Minnesota in here? I got the gas
yeah,
salary up, and it was perfect spot. So good starter. That's my pick. And
for
like
sure,
I
and
said, I'm
definitely
gonna sell out.
underrated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, great pick. My pick here, and this is a spicy little nugget, and I feel like a lot of people are just gonna shit on me for it, but I think Tristan Jarry from the Pittsburgh Penguins is a little underrated.
Yeah, man. I
Um,
think that's a great choice because he was actually second on my list. Second.
nice.
Yeah.
Cam Talbot was 50th on my list.
You're just like the rest of them. You
Yeah,
don't
just like
believe in
the
the
rest
man.
of them. I know.
He's also got one of the best masks in the NHL. I mean, he's got the best pads too. This dude's unreal. Get him on
Yeah,
the show. Send this guy a DM.
I will, man. Yeah, we'll try to get him on for next week so he
I'll
can
be
defend his
beating his
honor.
meat for 2 hours on this.
But yeah, we'll
Anyways,
get him on. No video on that show, of course.
no.
You'll see that on Pornhub. Anyway, so Tristan Jarry is my pick. Uh, I know he had a rough series last year against the Islanders where he gave up a lot of bad goals. Um, but it wasn't all about that. Like I think a lot contributed to that series, and I just want to go over some regular season numbers right now. So in 1920, he played 33 games, and he won 20 of them, only losing 12, and gave one up in overtime. Um, he faced 985 shots that year, only gave up 78. His goals against was 2.43, and he had a 921 save percentage. So, like I was talking about earlier, in my mind, that's an elite. Those are elite numbers anyway.
Yeah, that's a
921
great
with
year.
almost 1,000 shots against. So I think that was a first, introduction year for him. Winning 20 games.
It's a good year. It's a really good
For
year.
sure. And then in 2020, 2021, he played 39 because of the COVID shortened season. But in those 39 games, he won 25 games, only lost 9, and dropped a couple in overtime. His shots against that year were 1,100. And out of 1,100 shots, he only let in 100. So he saved 1,000 shots that season um, in 39 games, which is unreal. Had a bit
Yeah.
worse of a goals against average. He had 2.75, but still under 3. And his save percentage dropped off a bit that year, coming in at 0.909. But still, I think he had a great regular season. It doesn't matter. You can look at save percentage and goals against and all that. But he got 25 wins, which is still like the dominant factor in a good team. And in a good team, everybody
It's
needs a
hard to
good
analyze a
goalie
goalie, man,
for sure.
by looking at numbers.
Yeah, I think it's a small sample size, but where I think this guy gets underrated is just in his playoff numbers. He's a young goalie. Like, which young goalie hasn't struggled in the playoffs yet? He'll learn to win. He'll get his shit together. I feel a lot of people call him a bad goalie just because those bad goals last year. But I think
Yeah.
if he's probably the most hard on himself. I don't. So I think a lot of people are underrating him, and I think he'll come back and have a fantastic regular season next year. And I think Pittsburgh is going to finish as one of the top teams again and go on to have a pretty good playoff run
I
too.
think he had a great year last year, didn't he? Like,
He had a
for the year
fantastic
span.
regular season, but where people are underrating him is just saying this guy's shit. He can't do nothing in the
He's not that
playoffs.
playoff goalie though. It seems like he's a bit. I was
But
watching that
that's a
series.
small sample size that I'm talking about. A lot of people are saying that, but I mean, name a young goalie that went into the playoffs and can do it consistently. I mean, you look at Jordan Binnington. Yeah, he did it
He
one
was like
year, but he
80.
didn't do it the next year.
No.
So
There's not many. Matt Murray, Pittsburgh goalie.
I suppose they're all Pittsburgh goalies, aren't they? Maybe that says
Yeah.
something more about the team than the goalies. But
Yeah. But that's a good pick, man, because he was second on my list because I looked at his numbers and I was saying, well, I mean, the dude's got like fucking good numbers, for the
great
most part.
numbers, almost Vasilevsky. I
Yeah.
think Vasilevsky's got like 5 more wins, and
Yeah. But
he won the Vezina.
yeah, like we went over, I was just like fucking gassed up on Cam Talbot. I could not miss that opportunity. So I had to throw Tristan Jarry to the wayside for the time being.
No, for sure, I understand that. Cam Talbot's overlooked a lot too,
Every aspect of life, man.
for sure. I like our picks. Is there any runner ups that we didn't get to either for the overrated or underrated that you like to just throw out?
I don't know if I mentioned this in the podcast that I picked. I originally written down Jamie Benn as my overrated player. So
Yeah,
I think people talk like in the last 2 or 3 years, man, it's like 30 something points a year, 40 points. I mean, I don't know why people are when they mention Dallas and they mention like scoring, they bring up Jamie Benn, man, because fuck, man, he's been on the bench for years now, hasn't he? And he
yeah.
doesn't. He's not the same player as he once was. He won at Ross and he's an Olympic gold in 2014. He was a great player at one point, but I don't know. I was gonna pick him and I was like, nah, I'm gonna piss off some Vancouver fans. So
Why not? Yeah.
yeah, but
I think a lot of that comes because he was such a, what would he go in the fifth or sixth round? So I think a lot of that is just the, you know,
yeah,
adversity he faced to get to that level.
yeah. That was kind of my argument for Braden Point as well when he came as an underrated player. Facing a lot of adversity. But yeah, I didn't want shit on Jamie Benn, so I put that away. So
Nice, nice. Good stuff. Next, we have a new segment we're introducing to the show called NHL New for the Week. This segment will be presented by a great friend of the podcast, Caleb Smith. So, Caleb, how are you today?
I'm good, Trevor. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Thanks, buddy. Not a problem. Happy to have you. So let's give you a proper intro to the show, shall we? What's your name, age, and your hometown?
My name's Caleb Smith. I'm 22 years old, and I'm from Twillingate, Newfoundland.
Awesome, buddy. What's your favorite hockey team and your favorite player?
My favorite team ever since I was a little kid, the Chicago Blackhawks, baby. Fucking right, Chicago. 3-6.
Wicked.
Gotta say it every time. And my
Wicked, buddy.
favorite player right now has got to be Patrick Kane, man. I mean, God love him. He's probably the best American-born player of all time, in my opinion.
I'd say too.
he's
Showtime.
up there, yeah.
All right. So the NHL New for the Week is a new program, like we mentioned. It's going to showcase a Newfoundlander that made it to the NHL, and we're going to give some fun stats and facts about that player. So thanks for the introduction, Caleb. Let's get it going. Who is the NHL New for the Week?
Well, I figured what better Newfoundlander to start off this segment than the first Newfoundlander to ever play in the NHL, Mr. Alex Faulkner from Bishop Falls. Despite Alex being the first Newfoundlander to actually step foot on NHL ice, his brother George actually signed the first pro contract with an NHL team. He played 4 seasons with the Shawinigan Cataracts, who were owned by Montreal Canadiens at the time. So George was pretty good at the time too, but you don't really hear about him as much as his brother Alex. Alex got his shot when Coach Howie Meeker of the Toronto Maple Leafs saw him play in an exhibition game here in St. John's, and he recommended Alex to President King Clancy. And Clancy took his word for it, and sure enough, Alex got his shot in the 61-62 season with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Toronto was stacked with guys like Dave Keon, Red Kelly. Poor Alex didn't get his he got his chance to step foot on the ice, but he didn't crack the roster. So his shot came in Detroit, where he made a full-time appearance on the third line, which was the checking line with Larry Jeffrey and Bruce McGregor. I don't know if you guys know about them or not.
Yes, man. I got Bruce's hockey card. He's a beauty. He's a beauty.
Yep.
Sounds like a nice guy.
Well, in Alex Faulkner's total NHL career, he played 101 games, and he tallied 15 goals, 17 assists for 32 points. He was inducted into Newfoundland Hockey Hall of Fame in 1994, and he also won 5 Herder trophies, which, for those who don't know, is the best senior championship trophy in Newfoundland. And he won 3 with the Grand Falls Ancos and 2 with the Conception Bay Seabees.
Go Conception Bay. Let's go.
So, here we go. That's our first Newfoundlander of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Man,
and what a
that was
better
good,
one
man.
to
Yeah,
start it off.
that's the perfect one. Yeah, I almost feel it's a crime because I don't know any of those old guys, and I feel like I got to look into it. But I don't know, man. I know Danny Clary and Teddy Purcell.
Well, I'm
If
sure
I'm
I'll
not
be able to.
mistaken, I think I heard somebody say that Alex Faulkner actually played a game in Twillingate when he was playing
No
with
way.
Gander when he was really small.
Wow.
Wow.
Never heard that before.
It could have been someone else maybe, but I heard him and his brother come down and played a couple
that's
games.
awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at Alex's stats earlier, and I seen when he was in juniors for Grand Falls, he played 14 games and had 84 points. Isn't that unreal?
It's like Caleb Smith and Adams.
Yeah.
With my TPS response R9, best stick I ever had in Pee-wees.
Yeah,
That's such a classic
sick.
stick. I can only see you playing that with that stick, Hale.
Yeah.
It's back when I played defense.
Back when I played goalie.
We were
Oh,
deep
my.
air, Steven.
Yeah, we were actually talking to the Adam defense repair here.
Yeah. The Pee-wee Provincial I champions of 2012.
Yeah, the finest ever hit the ice in Glovertown.
Clementine's at the wall and never getting invited back to the tournament again.
Yeah. That's probably my doing for throwing clementines at the door.
Yeah, I think this is going to be called the Twongate is not invited tournament next year.
Oh,
Probably. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, Caleb. It was a pleasure
yes, man.
to have
It was really insightful, man. Thank you.
I can't wait
Thanks
to
for
see you
having me,
next
boys.
week and see the Newfoundlander you bring to the show.
See you next week, boys.
Take it easy,
See you
man.
later, buddy. See ya. All right, guys, this is the part of the podcast I've been looking the most forward to. Me and Steve are going to take a minute here to go over our favorite players on each NHL team. We'll go in alphabetical order, just to keep it simple. So, Steve, who's your favorite player on Anaheim?
Have to be goalie John Gibson, man. Could have been
Yeah.
one of the best U.S.-born goaltenders to ever play if he wasn't in that shithole. But unfortunately for him, he had to play in Anaheim when they're at their lowest. But we discussed him last week, and we did for a reason, because he's an amazing player. And I don't know if he's underrated, and I don't know if he's overrated. I feel like he's in a good place.
Yeah.
But put him on a team where he could excel, and we're talking about like a guy who wins a Vezina, a guy who wins a cup. But unfortunately, he's in Anaheim. Feel bad for the guy, but that's the way she goes. That's my favorite player, anyways.
It's a good pick. I like Johnny too. Mine on Anaheim is Troy Terry. I just love his speed and his shootouts, even though the bastard fucking beat Canada.
Yeah.
At the World Juniors. Doesn't matter. I still love his shootout skills. Just watching him. It's just such a treat to watch. He was a 5th round pick, a bit of an underdog, and I always like the underdogs. So that's my guy from Anaheim. What about Arizona?
I picked who else? Who
Fair
else
enough.
can you pick? It's on the back of your jersey, the man I picked. The thrill, man. You
Hot
can't
dog
pick
Phil
anybody else
Kessel.
in Arizona, man. He's just one of those guys, like, even more so than hockey, you look at the guy himself and the personality is. He's not much of a personality, and that's what makes him a personality.
Exactly. Yeah.
He just doesn't care, man. He'll eat a cookie. He doesn't care, man. He's still going to put 30 goals in the fucking net every year. He's a
I've
great
heard
hockey player, man.
so many funny stories from him too. Just to let the YouTube listeners know. 81.
81,
inside the
man.
jersey. Let's
Yeah.
go.
He's an amazing player, and who other, man? I can't pick anybody else in Arizona, man, because when you got a guy like that on your team, so who doesn't love him? There's not one Arizona fan that goes, man, I fucking hate Phil Kessel trading. They just don't, man. He's a great guy. On the team.
He's a great guy. I think he will request a trade though, for sure.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there's at his point in his career. I mean, he's already got 2 cups with Pittsburgh, but I can't see him staying in Arizona because there's nothing there for him.
No.
My guy in Arizona is Clayton Keller. I love his speed. I love the flash. Just when the team matures, I think he will be captain. Sorry to kind of dog your boy Chikrin here, but I think he will be captain. I think he's a silent leader. I think he leads by example. I just like it. Clayton Keller.
Pick.
Yeah, for sure.
Really good pick.
What about Boston? Who's your guy here?
Boston, I chose former Minnesota Wild center Charlie Coyle.
Oh, nice pick.
He came in through the deadline one year, I think, and he had a really good playoffs. I think that's when Boston lost to. That's when they went to the finals, I believe, the year he came, right?
Yeah, with St. Louis.
I think so. Anyways, I think he came in the playoffs. He had a really good playoffs, and I knew him previously from Minnesota because he was on the team when I just started watching Minnesota because I never grew up watching Minnesota. It was more of a thing later on. And, he's a player that I always liked. I think he's a really good player. I mean, he's not amazing or anything, but he plays the game well. So I thought he was a good pick.
Yeah, he's a big guy and he uses his body to get a lot of offense that he wouldn't get if he was a smaller guy, I think.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
he definitely uses that to his advantage.
Yeah. My guy here is Matt Grzelcyk, kind of like a Loki. He's just such a weird player. And I can't really, I don't know really why I like him. I don't know. I just watch him play, and whenever he's out on the ice, I think he's a great defenseman, chips in on offense. And he got injured last year, and it sucks because he was on his way on a career high. But I think he's only getting better, and I don't know why. I just love this player. I think he's an American player.
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know much about him, man. I knew for a couple years there he was kind of in the third pair. He was in and out of the lineup, but other than that, I don't know much about the guy, so I wouldn't be able to put him up there myself. But I'm sure he's a good hockey player.
I think he was playing with McAvoy for a little bit this year. He's usually a top four, usually playing in the second pairing in Boston. But I don't know, just a great player. I don't know why I like him. What about Buffalo? Who's your guy here?
I think you might be able to guess this. Dylan Cousins, the dude's a fucking animal.
Nice power horse from Whitehorse. Let's go.
Yeah, he's amazing, man. He plays the game in any way you want. Imagine coaching this guy. It must be a pleasure to coach. I mean, he'd probably do anything, man. He'd lie down and block a shot with his face. He'd fight. He'd fucking penalty kill, power play. The guy does it all. He's similar. He reminds me of Ryan O'Reilly in a way. I think he's going to be captain of Buffalo when Jack Eichel leaves because he's going to fucking leave. You can't stand, right? So I don't know if he's captain yet because he's so young, but he's got that potential and he's an amazing hockey player. And
between him or Darlene for sure.
Yeah, so he's my pick.
Yeah, great pick. I like that pick too. Like I can't get over how much I like watching that guy play hockey. I love him at World Juniors. I can't wait to see what he does for Buffalo.
Yeah.
My pick would probably be Jeff Skinner, just because I think he's on one of the best contracts in the league right now. For what he does planning rookie parties and absolutely tearing up the league. I think that $9 million is really well deserved. No, I'm joking, but no, honestly, I do love Jeff Skinner. I loved him in Carolina. I just used to watch him, love him. Used to watch him play. I used to draft him all the time, or not draft him, but trade for him all the time in like old NHL games and stuff like that. I don't know, love the way he plays, and honestly, I believe he will score 40 again at least one more time. I mean, that's only if Buffalo can get their shit in order. Like if Eichel stays somehow and he plays on a line with him, and I mean Buffalo's just clicking and he gets power play time, I think he can. I think I don't know, he usually does have a bad season, good season, bad season, good season. So I think Skinner can get back to his 40 goals, but that is a stretch. But
yeah, it's not really, but not on this team.
Yeah, good point, honestly. But who's taking that contract?
Nobody.
Fuck it. That's a conversation for another day.
Don't give Peter Strelly a job.
Yeah, no, God, no. Who's your favorite player in Calgary?
Calgary, I was a bit indecisive on this one, but I went with Blake Coleman. He just recently signed there for a few years. Two-time Stanley Cup champion. He started off his career in New Jersey, I think. He's a really good player, and this dude is the type of guy who's not going to do anything, and then he'll just score a goal with one hand on his hockey stick. He's scored some highlight reel goals. He's got that talent, man. He's not the guy who's going to score 60 or 70 points, but he's the guy who's going to be a consistent forward for you and get a couple highlight reel goals, man.
Absolutely, man.
His wife's really good hockey rocket player. Oh yeah, well, geez, everybody on this list got rocket was, but we won't talk about that.
Probably, yeah.
He's my pick.
Yeah, that was my second too, but right above that is Chris Tanev. Just got traded from Vancouver last season, or signed there, I'm not sure. But he's a great stay-at-home defenseman, and he absolutely eats pucks. Like this guy just lies down. He'd lie down in front of a cement truck if he had to. I just love the way he plays. I love his loyalty and his effort just in his own end. He doesn't do a lot for the end zone, but I mean, any team would be lucky to have this guy.
Great leader, probably too. I mean, he's probably a really great leader.
Yeah, he is. He's probably great in the dressing room too, because all like he blocks a big shot or something. He's hurt on the bench. All the boys are rallying around him, just loving him.
Yeah, He's a great
Yeah.
hockey player.
For sure. What about Carolina? Who's your take here?
This guy was I should have mentioned him when you asked if I had anybody else that I thought was underrated, and I actually thought about this guy, but I didn't at the time you mentioned is Vinny Trocheck, man. He's a really good center, man.
He is. He's awesome. I liked him
played-
in Florida. I couldn't believe he
Yeah.
got traded out.
Played behind Barkov for a while, and I mean, like, he's a very consistent player. Seems like he, you're gonna get 20 goals, 30 assists from him every year, and he plays the game the right way, and he's probably a really easy player to coach. He seems like that type of player who can just you give him a goal and he finds a way to do it. And I don't think that he can do anything wrong, man. He's fucking every time I've watched a Carolina game, he's always been in the right spot on the ice. So I'm a big fan of his. And
I always like
he's been
Vinny too.
underrated.
He seems like the guy, and because he's so underrated, he seems like the guy that could play first line, or he could play fourth line, and he'd do what the coach tells him to go out there and do.
And he wouldn't complain once, man.
No, I like that too. My guy here is a new fellow, Martin Necas.
He's good.
Rookie season in I think 2018, and ever since then he's only been getting better. I love his speed. I love his playmaking ability. I think he's going to be a star in the league soon. But the only thing is, he might be a guy that we look years from now saying, this guy is so underrated for what he does, just because he's going to get outshadowed by all the skill they have up front. Teravainen, Aho, Svechnikov, Vinny Trocheck. He's got a lot of skill to play with there. So I think this guy will be someone we look to in the future saying, why does this guy fly so low under the radar?
Yeah. I mean, he was a first round pick, man. He was highly thought of. And, I don't see any reason why he's not going to succeed in the NHL. I remember watching him in the World Juniors for, I think it was a Czech or wherever he's from. I think he played with Zadina.
Yep, Czech.
And I was like, man, this guy's going to be a wicked NHL player. He's got that potential. So it's a good pick.
For sure. I know we shit on him a lot this episode, but if there is any favorite player in Chicago, who would that be?
It's got to be Seth Jones. God, just best defenseman in the
league.
league.
Great defensive.
Consistently.
His defensive side of the puck, unbelievable. Great defensive awareness.
No, all seriousness, it's got to be the Flower, man. I mean, feel bad for the guy the way things ended in Vegas. It's terrible the way they treated him, man. I used to love Vegas. I seen a Vegas hat on sale this week actually, and I was like, man, that looks sick, but fuck you, because you traded Fleury, so I never even went and bought it. So I don't know, Fleury, man. Does anybody really dislike Fleury? I don't think so. Great goalie. I mean, sometimes he plays a bit questionable, does questionable plays with the puck, but I mean, he's a great goalie. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, shit defenseman, great goalie. That's what I say about Flower. I'm happy you said that. Definitely a Hall of Famer. My pick for Chicago would be Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah, well, that's our first.
He is my favorite. That's our first that we've agreed on. Upon. He is definitely my favorite goalie of all time. Ever since his time in Pittsburgh with those bright yellow pads, I can remember I was only like 7 or 8 years old. I loved watching him. I used to get hockey cards from McDonald's, the bright yellow pads. Fucking love this guy. He looks like he's always having fun on or off the ice. He could be getting blown out, like, I don't know, letting 4 shit goals, and he makes a good save or he robs someone and he's smiling again. He's just one of those guys that people love to root for. And
definitely.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yes, man.
Hopping over to Colorado. Who's your favorite player on this team?
Well, easy, being from the Rock, it's got to be Newhook, man. He's going to be a top 6 forward, easy. I think I got all the money on him. I think he's going to be a 50, 60-point guy at some point. I mean, even he could score more, man, playing on that group. They got a lot of offense in Colorado. And, I looked at this team and I was like, I can't really pick anybody else because, I mean, you got to cheer for, the guy from the province. And, he's a great hockey player, so it makes it even easier to cheer for him.
For sure. Yeah, that was my number 2 on this list, but right ahead of him just because, I don't know. I like this guy more. It's Nathan MacKinnon. I think obvious superstar, kind of a biased opinion just because I like the way he plays. But, I just feel like he's a kind of a Crosby type, just really hard on the puck, really powerful. I love his work ethic and his, obvious talent and competitiveness, but just his will to be the best hockey player possible. Just the way he's been switching up his diet and his exercise. and doing everything possible to be the best hockey player, I think is really admirable. So I really
Yeah,
like
and I
that
mean,
guy
if I never had Newhook, I would have had McKinnon because
for
I feel
sure.
the same way about the dude. He just wants to be better than everybody else.
Yeah.
So
Plus, he was in an episode of Trailer Park Boys. So
yeah, he was in several, I think.
was he? Fuck, I'd
Yeah,
love him. Love that, man.
yeah. What a guy.
Yeah. What about Dallas?
Um, is it Columbus or Dallas?
Oh, Jesus. What about Columbus, buddy?
All right, I chose newest Columbus Blue Jacket, Jakub Voracek.
Nice.
I don't know. I just something about the dude. He kind of looks like Gritty in Philly too. He kind of looks like the mascot. I mean,
Yeah, they had to trade
I-
him because Gritty was taking too much.
yeah,
They were getting too confused. Who was
yeah. They
Gritty?
didn't
Who was
know who was
Voracek?
who. Yeah, who the fuck's lacing him up today? So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great player for a while. I mean, he's not going to win any awards, but I think he's a solid top six winger. And I mean, he does his job every year. And you
Yeah.
ever see that interview where he just completely shit on the press?
Oh yeah, called the.
Yeah.
Oh man, what he
Fucking
called him?
weasel. You
A
fucking
bunch
weasel.
of weasel. Yeah, that fucking reporter. Yeah, that guy got fucking
Yeah.
sewered, man.
Yeah, so he seems like a fucking laugh to be around. So
Yeah.
I had to pick him.
Yeah, and I like that too. How down to earth he is. Because I mean, any other player would be like, "Fuck, I guess I'll just answer this guy's question, then I can go
Yeah.
home and live my life." But fucking calls guy a weasel.
Yeah, he
Oh,
don't
man.
care, man. He made his money. He's been in the league a while. He says what he wants.
Anybody who's seen that interview too remembers who was right next to him, Travis Konechny. Just
Yeah,
do a
he's like-
double take, like, what the fuck did he just say?
Like that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, my favorite on I like that pick though. Voracek would definitely be one of my favorite players in the league too. But I got to go with him, man. Boone Jenner, probably one of the best hockey names there ever was. Played for my hometown team, Oshawa Generals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think he might have been the captain for his last year. He played, I think he played 4 years in junior, which tells you how hard of a transition, like, or how like much he had to work at it to actually perfect his game to get up to the show. But I just love the way he plays, how, grit in the corner and just I think I read a stat somewhere that he led all rookies in his year for hits. So that just tells you what the kind of player he is, man. I love Boone Jenner. And like I said, just I like even saying his name, I could sit at home, watch TV and just say Boone Jenner every time the
Boone
guy
Jenner,
steps
Boone
on the
Jenner.
ice, and I'd have a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I would have to disagree with you a bit there to a certain extent of why I don't like the guy. I watched a video on YouTube. It was by Bear Down, the guys who do the quizzes.
Yeah.
And the guy Jesse,
Mhm.
funny guy. He was there. He was
Winnipeg
coaching
fan.
he was coaching this I don't know, some type of game for whatever in the off season. I don't know if it was for charity or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
Boone Jenner was playing in it, man, and he was like behind the bench. He had the fake mustache on, like just having a laugh, and like all the other players, like Dubois was there and a few other guys, and like everybody seemed really nice and down to earth. And then he was just trying to make a joke with Boone Jenner, man, like because he like made a joke to, like, man, you got to play harder or something. And like Boone Jenner was having none of it, man. He was fucking pissed.
Yeah. I never
Yeah,
seen
man.
that.
I was like, wow, man, he seems like a dick.
Yeah, he might have been having a bad day or something, but
Yeah,
yeah,
somebody
I'll
might
have to check
died or
that out.
something.
Then I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I know what video you're talking about because I was watching little, sound bites from it and stuff like that. But I never seen the part where Boone Jenner fucking,
Yeah, he was pissed.
big dog, buddy from Bird.
I don't think he said much, but I mean, he just looked so pissed, man. Like he was
Yeah.
gonna like eat his ass out or something.
Oh, Boone Jenner tries to eat my ass, man. Bring it over, man.
Yes, man. Open the door.
What about
Any-
Dallas? Who's your
Dallas.
favorite player here?
This is the only team I chose too, because I got a little story. I was in a fantasy league a few years ago with a couple of my buddies, and I think it was like round 3. So round 3, you're gonna get a really good player.
Yeah.
And I was just casually scrolling through when it was my pick. I think we had like a 2-minute timer to make our pick or something. So I was just scrolling through and accidentally clicked on my laptop. I clicked Essa Lindell in like the 3rd round, and I accidentally clicked confirm and drafted the dude by like I don't even know who it was, by like Carlson
yeah.
and Stamkos or something. I drafted Essa Lindell and I got shit on for it, and it ended up being a pretty good pick. I mean, he didn't get many points, but I mean, like he never got hurt. He seemed consistent enough. I mean, it would have looked a lot better if he was picked in the 16th round or something, sure. But
Yeah.
I don't know. After that, I was like, man, like I'm gonna pay attention to this guy, how he plays, and he seems like a really good defensive defenseman, and he compliments Klingberg a lot.
Yeah, I do.
And, to move
I like
on to
him.
the other player that I picked is Ryan Suter, because I mean, good old Minnesota player. I mean, there for
Oh, yeah.
ages. I mean, solid
Bet.
defenseman. If there was an award for defensive defenseman, a long time ago, I feel like Ryan Suter would be a more decorated guy in the league.
Yeah.
He's been
Probably
doesn't
get
make
2 or 3 of
mistakes.
them.
Yeah. So I couldn't decide really. I wanted to talk about both of them, so I just did that. That's the only team though.
It better be, man. Don't be breaking the rules no more. No, the next team coming up, Detroit. I could have picked multiple players here, but I'd be interested to see who you pick from it.
You never talked about your Dallas guy, did you?
Oh Jesus, look at me getting drunk and forgetting what to do. So my guy, hey, this is pretty cool. We're all picking defensemen. My guy is Miro Heiskanen.
Yeah, he's good.
In my opinion, the second best young defenseman in the game, only behind Cale Makar. This guy will win a Norris one day. I love the way he skates. I love watching him for Finland. When he was drafted, I knew nothing about him, but ever since, I watched him at an under 18 tournament or even maybe the World Juniors. I just been laser focused on his career, and I'll follow it until he retires. This guy is probably one of my favorite defensemen in the game right now.
Yeah, he's a special defenseman. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that.
Anyway, on to Detroit, unless I missed another team or player.
No, you're good. We got for me, we got Tyler Bertuzzi. I mean, he's like, is there many players like Tyler Bertuzzi left in the league? Not many.
I don't think so.
He's maybe it's Kachuk's. Excuse me, I'm burping.
Yeah, or Gallagher or something like that, or Marchand or something.
Yeah, there's not many, man, and he's a really good utility player, man, who can play. Who's got a bit of talent, right? He can play top six, and he adds a bit of toughness to the lineup. So I mean, I looked at Detroit's lineup and I seen this guy and I was like, it's got to be him. He's the type of guy I get when I play NHL games. Put him in. So
yeah,
he's a great player, man. So it was an easy pick for me.
Yeah, I love that pick. My favorite player for Detroit is Tyler Bertuzzi.
Yeah,
I fucking love this guy, man.
Yeah,
this guy's
exactly.
A stud. I love his gritty game, and I don't know, like a bit of skill to complement that too. I love how he can play top six, and he wasn't expected to play top six. I think he was drafted 3rd round, like his brother Tag or his cousin Tag. And I mean, the best lettuce in the league. Like,
oh yeah, he's got a good haircut.
It's debatable, but man, great. And I mean, what better lettuce and a missing tooth in the front? Like his overall, like, just facial recognition.
He's a hockey player. He's a hockey player.
He's a fucking hockey player, and I love it.
Yeah.
For sure. What about Edmonton? Who's your guy here? I feel like we might have the same one here.
Good old Toronto player, Zach Hyman.
Yeah.
It's got to be, man. I love him, man. I watched him since he played his first game in the league. He's just one of those players that, he just brings it every night. He's there every shift, man. He doesn't miss a beat. He does anything. He's like, I say that a lot about a few players, but I mean, when I say it about Zach Hyman, I literally mean he does anything. If you wanted this dude to go out there with a fucking semi-automatic, I don't know. Wait, that was a bad reference. Holy fuck. No, anyways, this dude will do whatever it takes to win, is my point. Which
he'll
probably,
fucking do.
It's probably a bad
semi-automatic, man. I believe it.
Probably a bad comparison to make to do anything to win, but you get my point now. At least I got it across. So
yeah, loud and clear, bud.
Yeah, your turn.
Yeah, so we actually got the same player. I knew it as soon as so that's 2 in a row now. Yeah, great player. Probably one of the best in the corners and net front. What I really like about this stud is he can play power play or PK. So I really like that. I love players that can do that. He's good offensively, but if you got too many players on your team on the power play, like they did in Toronto or now Edmonton, he'll be great on the penalty kill.
Yeah, he's good in front of the net.
Yeah, for sure. I love him in front of the net, and I mean down in the corners, like I mentioned too. Like a lot of people in the game probably can't even beat him down the corners, and he's not looked at as this huge, great player.
Oh, he's getting paid like it now, though.
Oh yeah, he got his
Yeah.
money now.
Yeah.
What about your Panthers pick? Who's your guy?
I picked a guy who's a little bit off the board for Florida. He was undrafted, so I felt like I wrote that down in my notes just to make sure that I mentioned that. It's Ryan Lomberg. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
I seen him in the playoffs this year, and I never really paid attention to the guy prior to that. And I was like, man, this dude just got energies. He knows how to play the game, and I felt like he was just a really solid player. And I was hoping this offseason that the Leafs might go out or Minnesota and make a run at this guy. I mean, I know it wouldn't probably cost a lot to get him on the group, but I don't know. I just liked him. There's something about him. I don't know, the way he plays. And I just thought he was a really interesting player. So I'm probably going to keep track of the rest of his career and see what happens to him.
For sure. And yeah, I'm always cheering for undrafted players,
Yeah, definitely,
or
man.
underdogs, or people who's drafted late, people who have a lot of obstacles against them to even crack a lineup. I love those players. My guy here is Jumbo Joe, Big Joe Thornton.
Jumbo Joe,
I fucking love this guy.
Ageless wonder.
Yeah, exactly. Just like the Nick Backstrom, probably one of the best playmakers for the last decade. Just a great team guy, do anything to win, hard on his teammates, kind of like a Michael Jordan in the NBA.
Yeah.
Just like I've heard stories about this guy just ripping his own players in practice, but it makes them better players. So I respect that. Like if you get like a fourth line plug, ripping players in fucking practice, like that guy's a scrub. Get him out of here. But when
Joe
Jumbo
Thornton
does
talks,
it to you, when Joe Thornton talks, like it means something. And I mean,
definitely.
how can you mention Jumbo without mentioning that fucking beard, eh? Best beard in the league, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. He's a fucking beauty,
Most
man.
iconic anyway. Like if I seen that beard and you're like, which famous athlete is this? Like,
it's easy.
I mean, it's either 100 years old James Harden or it's fucking Joe Thornton. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, who's your guy for
good
the
picks.
Los Angeles Kings, my buddy?
My player for Los Angeles is a guy who I believe is going to win some type of hardware in his career, maybe an Hart or an Art Ross or something, and that's Quentin Byfield. I've seen a lot of people, especially a guy we know,
Yeah,
he's not too high in Quentin Byfield, and I don't understand why. I mean, I believe he was the youngest player in the AHL last year.
could have been. Yeah,
the numbers he put up was like, it was almost a point per game, and then he came in and played a few NHL games. He had a few points. So I believe in him, man. He's second overall pick behind Lafreniere a few years ago. And I don't know, man. It's just he reminds me. I don't know if this is just because he's tall or if I don't know what it is, but I think he reminds me of Evgeny Malkin. I think he's got that ceiling, man. That's a big ceiling for me to say something like that. But I think he's got that
Two
ceiling,
second
man.
overall picks.
He's got that reach, man. His stick is long, and like he's fucking. He's a very aware player. He knows where he is on the ice, and I just think I got big hopes for this guy. I'm going to follow his full career, and I hope he does well, and I hope he proves me right.
Yeah, and unlike a Jack Hughes per se, like he doesn't have to fill out. He doesn't have to gain muscle.
No, man,
the only thing he's got to do is just
find his way,
learn how to move his body, and find, like you said, just find his way. Learn to play with the muscle he got there, and he will. He's got every single I don't know
attribute
reason
you need.
exactly, trait to be a great NHLer and all the potential in the world as well. So, for sure. My guy here is Brendan Lemieux. Sad he got traded for from New York Rangers because I liked watching him there, and but I love the edge he plays with. He's a great small fighter. I like how he stands up for his team and he's loyal wherever he goes. Despite he's been traded 4 times, which kind of surprised me when 3 times. He's been on 4 different teams, which kind of burns me out because how good of a small forward he is, and you're only going to use him on the 3rd or 4th checking line.
Maybe it has something to do with his personality. I wonder.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. Maybe he's a locker room cancer of some type too, because I mean, he's a great little player, and I love him to death.
Yeah, I thought he was a really good player. Not really good, but I mean, he's thought a useful player. We'll say.
I mean, more useful to than a 4th-round pick that what
Yeah.
the Rangers got back, but maybe they know
Yeah.
something we don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you're right there.
yeah, it's a good pick.
All right, without wasting any more time, what about your Minnesota pick? I know you've been waiting a while for this one.
Can you guess?
I would guess Krill the Thrill if I had to.
It's got to be, man. I mean, Calder Trophy winner. I mean, one of the most dynamic forwards the league has
The
ever
most exciting
seen.
player to watch, except for McDavid right now.
Yeah, I think so, man. I would say that's fair. And I mean, a lot of people are going to argue with that, but there's a difference between being exciting and being like, great, but he's both. And you can have a great player who's not exciting to watch. I mean, Patrice Bergeron's like watching paint dry. The dude's
Yeah.
fucking. I don't sit down and get excited to watch Patrice Bergeron. No offense, the dude's one of the best players in the league. Some would say, but Kirill Kaprizov, man, every time this guy steps on the ice, man, I'm just glued. My eyes are glued to the screen. I'm like, what is he gonna do? And
Yeah.
the ways he pulls off his moves, and incredible skating. Some of the best skating I've
Oh,
ever seen in my
yeah.
life.
One of the best skaters I've seen in a while.
Yeah, he's unreal. His edges are great, and he just finds ways, man. It's just he's not the biggest guy, and he's not the strongest, and he just finds ways to do stuff that other players can't do, and it's really inspiring. It's amazing to watch. So this dude's got a good career. Hopefully he signs, because if he goes back to fucking Russia, wherever he goes, I'm gonna be shitting bricks. But let's hope he signs.
Minnesota's going to easily become the most fun team to watch to the most boring team.
Yes, exactly.
He goes back to Russia.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah. For my pick, the pride of Norway, Norwegian prince himself, Matt Zuccarello. I love this guy's speed and his playmaking abilities. I think he plays great with Kirill. So what a good 1-2 punch man you got here.
Yeah.
I like this guy on New York Rangers, and I've loved him ever since.
Yeah, he's a great player, man. I love watching him too. He's great at passing the puck, and all that line needs is that dynamic center. Like put Jack Eichel on that line. Fuck, man. How many cups are they gonna raise in fucking Minnesota, man? It's just they need that one center, and I think they're on to that next level. But
that's kind of dicey saying, "Oh, we just need that one piece." I wonder how many fan bases said that and didn't make a.
That's fair. But Zuccarello's a really good player. I like that choice. I love him, man.
Yeah, same. Happy you agree. What about Montreal?
I picked Carey Price because it's just like one of those things. How do you not like the guy? I mean, he's such a great name in hockey. He's done a lot for hockey, and seems like he's a solid guy. Won a lot of awards, and he's played in the league a long time, man. He was drafted in the first round in 2005, I think, something like that.
5th overall. 05.
Yeah. I mean, Pierre McGuire doesn't like him, but who gives a fuck about that? You ever see that thing where he's like, oh, they got the Jose Theodore and that we don't need Carey Price in Montreal. You ever see that?
Jesus, what a bad call.
Yeah, that was tough. And
no, we got to have a segment where we go over all the shit Pierre McGuire says. I'd love that, honestly. Didn't he just get a GM job or something?
He got a job in Ottawa. It's not GM. It's like some kind of advisor or some shit like that. But yeah. Anyways, Carey Price, how do you not like him is what I'm getting to. So I had to pick him.
I like him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My guy here, maybe just as iconic for the Montreal Canadiens is Brendan Gallagher. I love the way he plays, kind of like Bertuzzi, kind of like Boone Jenner. He's always hard on the puck, hard on the players he's playing against. One of the best shit disturbers in the game.
Oh, yeah.
And he can definitely chip in on points. So I like that too.
Mm-hmm.
What about Smashville Predators, man? Who's your guy here?
This one's a bit off the board. Tanner Jeannot. He didn't play much this year. I think he's still considered a rookie. And the fact I have here written down in my notes is that he was a undrafted player. He played this past season. He played in the ECHL, AHL, and NHL. And I feel like this guy just lit it up in the ECHL, played extremely well in the AHL, got a call up, and he played extremely well in the NHL. I think he just carved his way into a full-time NHL role. And, it's nice to see players that come in like that. It makes you want to pay more attention to him rather than a guy who's like drafted 18th overall, who's got a pretty good full ride to the league for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. I always cheer for underdogs, man. I love him.
Yeah, so he seems tough, and he seems like he's got a bit of skill to go along with it. So he's a nice guy to watch, and I guarantee a lot of whoever's watching this probably don't have a fucking clue who Tanner Sonata is, and I wouldn't blame him one bit because I barely know who he is, but solid
Yep.
player, I think.
You can absolutely add me to that list, buddy. I don't know who the fuck that guy is, but I'm gonna look him up right after this and see where he came from because I love that. My guy here is Roman Josi Yossi.
Oh yeah,
Fucking man rocket. Great D-man, and for my money, one of the best captains in the league. Not a lot of defensemen can kind of lead a whole forward group by example, but I think he does. I
and
think
he's
he
the best
kinda,
forward on that team, man.
yeah, honestly, I feel like he kind of guides the blue line and kind of directs the offense on that team too. He's like a fucking star quarterback there. So
Yeah.
I think
My voice just cracked.
Yeah,
Beer's getting me.
love it. New York Islanders,
points.
dude.
I had New Jersey before New York, but it doesn't matter. Did I fuck that
Oh
up?
Jesus Christ, so did I. Devils. Who's your guy?
Mackenzie Blackwood, man, the dude has lost some teeth and he's a goalie, so I don't really know how that happened. He must be a street fighter or something, so I automatically love him.
Yeah.
He's a great goalie, man, and I feel like he's going to be contending for a spot on Team Canada. I don't think he gets it necessarily, but I think he's got a lot of potential. And when New Jersey gets better in the next few years, I think people are going to realize how good of a goalie he actually is. And I've loved him for ages. I used to draft him in NHL, so it's a great goalie.
Yeah, me too. That's my pick here too, man.
Yeah.
I forgot that he lost teeth. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I have no idea how he lost them, but they're not there. So
Didn't he have a black eye in one of his pictures too?
I don't fucking know, man. The dude gets his shit beat out of him. I don't understand it.
Man, I feel like in one of his pictures he was absolutely like got the wheels beat off him or something.
Yeah.
Loved him in juniors. I think he's going to be a top goalie in the league. Yeah, like you said, I used to draft him in NHL games, and he's a guy just like John Gibson, where I feel like he's going to be a recurring topic on this podcast.
Oh,
Like I
for a
can't give
long
enough
time.
praise to that guy.
Yeah.
Like now that they're slowly starting to rebuild, I think he's going to be a big part of a great New Jersey Devils team.
Sure. Yeah.
Yep. To the island, buddy. Who's your guy here?
Former All-Star game forward, former Toronto Maple Leaf, Uncle Leo. The dude is a beauty, man. He's one of the best looking ugly people I've ever met. I haven't met him, but I've ever seen. And I mean, he's just like, I don't know, something about him, man. You see Kamarov going up the ice, it's like, how do you not cheer for the guy to do something? He's just so you don't expect him to do anything, and when he does something, it's like, wow, he can actually do crossovers like Leo Kamarov, and he had a lot of offensive potential, I thought. I don't know. It's just I don't. That's kind of weird for me to call Kamarov having offensive potential.
Can't even do a crossover.
When he was in Toronto through the dark ages before Matthews and stuff, there wasn't much else to look at. Stuart Piercy or Leo Kamarov, right? Pick your poison. So, I don't know. It's just I feel like if he could start his life over, he'd have more offensive potential. But I don't know, man. I just love the guy, and I don't need an explanation because I love him. So that's my explanation.
Yeah, no, that's fine with me. I made this list a while ago, but if I had to redo it, I put Zdeno Chara here. He just got
sure.
signed.
That's a good pick.
I fucking love Chara, but anyway, I'll go off my list. Matt Barzal, great hands, great skating. He's probably the smoothest looking player in the NHL.
Oh, he's smooth, man. He's good looking too. He's a good looking fellow.
Oh yeah, nothing to shake a stick at. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah. Every time he touches the puck, it seems like he's just the smoothest, best looking player out there. He kind of skates like Kirill Kaprizov, man. I was gonna compare him earlier, but I didn't want to give it any spoilers that I really like this player. Yeah, I just like this player a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player, man.
Really what about in Madison Square Garden?
Madison Square Garden, it's a guy who took a little while to get going in his NHL career, and He didn't really. He was a high pick, I believe, but he didn't really amaze out of the gate, and he kind of moved around a bit as Ryan Strome. I really like him.
Mhm.
I think he's a solid player, and he seems like a nice dude. I've seen him in the interviews and stuff, and he just seems like a guy you like and you're going to cheer for. And he was in Long Island as well, I think, when he started off, and he went to Edmonton and didn't really work out. Now he's in New York with the Rangers. So I just cheer for him. I think he's a good player, and I think he's underrated. Honestly, it should be
I like
mentioned in
his
that.
too.
He gets points. Last few years, he finds ways to be productive, and that's what you want from a top six center. So I think he's a good player.
Yeah, great two-way guy
Yeah.
for sure. I think it's just a step keeping him back. Like the Strome brothers aren't really that quick. I think if like Dylan Strome in Chicago looked really good in juniors too, and he was drafted third overall by the Coyotes. And I think it's just that I don't know the Strome brothers aren't the quickest or the flight of foot.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's the reason. My guy for me, it can't be anyone else. New addition, Ryan Reeves. Fucking toughest guy in the
Tough as
league.
nails.
Yeah, you won't find anyone like if someone knocks this guy out or beats him in a fight, just luck. Like,
Blow the internet up.
yeah, he is the toughest guy, and I heard he's so bad, kind of off the ice. He's a great laugh. I feel like he'd big dog like me or you though. Like if we went up to him saying, "Hey Ryan, man, great game," he'd be like, "Man, get the fuck out of here, pigeons." But
Yeah.
I heard to like
Yeah,
NHL players, like
probably.
he's a
Yeah.
great fella to have a laugh with
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my guy here. What
Yeah.
about the dirty Ottawa Senators?
Um, is there a future captain of mine, Brady Kachuk? I mean, the dude just works like a dog, and he's got a lot of skill. He's one of the better hockey families to ever exist in the Kachucks. I mean, to this point, I mean, there's only three of them, but I mean, they're still like a great hockey family to be in.
Yeah,
Tough players, all of them. Keith, Matthew, and Brady are all tough, and then they all got skill and all high draft picks. So I just like him. I just like watching him. I think he's talented, and I think Ottawa's going in a good direction, and he definitely makes it more interesting to turn on Ottawa Senators game. So it's cool to see him succeed, like his
for
family
sure.
members. Yeah.
Yep, I'll knit from the same cloth, as some
Yes,
people
sir.
would say. My pick here is Brady Kachuk. Uh, I love his tenacity and his offensive talents. I love that picture of him and Matt where it's the Step Brothers movie poster
Yeah, I
and
seen
they're in
that,
it.
man. That's sick.
I love that. It looks like he's always having fun. Him and Timmy Jimmy Stutzlo in Ottawa,
Yeah.
they're always having a good time
Yeah.
too. So I
Yeah.
really like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Brady, it can really be
Solid
any
pick.
other players. There's some players on that lineup like deeper down in the depth chart that I like just for other reasons, but for just I don't know, just I, I think you love them if you watch them, but I'd hate to play against them. So
Yeah.
I think it's only because of a fan I can actually like this guy.
Hmm.
What about Philly?
Chose centerman Kevin Hayes. Rest in peace to his brother, who passed away
Yeah,
recently. That's a tragedy. He was pretty young,
I
man.
man, I
Sucks.
don't get emotional that much, but like I open Instagram and seen that he passed
Yeah, it's a sin,
and
man.
and
He's
seeing
got
all
a
the
young
stories
family.
people were saying
Yeah,
about
he's
him
got a
and
young
man,
family.
what a tearjerker that whole day was.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my day going, man. It was such a sin just
Yeah,
seeing
it's tragic,
everybody
man.
come around.
And Kevin is in training camp now with Philly, so he's definitely going through a hard time. Maybe it inspires him to have an amazing season. Sometimes things like that, you just want to. I don't know, just gives you a boost in a way. And I mean, it's weird to say that, but in a sense, it could. And I hope he
Yeah,
succeeds. He's been a great player, man. Signed that $7 million deal a couple years ago, and people were like, "Wow, that's fucking huge overpayment." But not really for what he does. I mean, he provides way more than scoring out of the group, and I think he's the most solid player Philly's got right now. He's dependable, and he works hard. I'm a guy who likes players who work hard, and that's what my list reflects, and so that's why I put him on here.
yeah. I think bringing Keith Yandel there is going to help him out a bit. Have a friendly face. I guess they're all friendly because they've been everybody on that team's been there for a while. But
Yeah,
yeah, and I think and definitely underrated just in the sense of like you don't see it on the scoreboard, but what he does for the team just like motivating and keeping people just having a laugh and loose and stuff like that. Like it's not gonna generate goals directly, but that's an intangible every
You
team
need guys
needs.
like that, yeah.
100%. My guy, speaking of him, was Keith Yandel. Hilarious guy, Sock
Yeah.
Daddy CEO,
Iron Man streak,
Iron Man streak. Yeah, I think he's like what 800 games now or 900.
830
It's
or something.
crazy. Yeah. I like how he can still play both sides of the puck despite his age. I think he's 36 or 35. Just still a great player at his age. So gotta commend him for that for sure.
Yeah.
What about the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Easy pick. I chose Crosby. I don't know. I just like Crosby. I mean, a lot of people would call him Crybaby Crosby, and
Yeah,
a lot of people shit on him, and I don't know. I don't understand him, man. He's one of the best. He's probably a top. I think he's a top 5 player of all time. No joke. I think he's
maybe,
up there.
yeah. 3
I mean,
cups, everything he's done in his career, gold medals.
triple gold club. He's done it all, man. There's not much more this guy can do besides win a Calder, but good luck doing that.
Yeah, maybe win a Calder in Russia or something, go to KHL.
Yeah. So I mean, he's done it all. I like him. I mean, he seems like a great guy. He's very secretive. It seems he doesn't have
Yeah.
social media, doesn't have anything, and that makes me think he's just down to earth. And I feel like if you run into this guy in a grocery store or something, he just like he'd be nice. He'd let you pass him in line. He's seems like a nice fellow. So I love Crosby, honestly, and I don't think he deserves some of the hate he gets.
Yeah. Yeah, great guy. I like every time I like remind myself or hear that it doesn't have social media, it kind of like takes me back to thinking like it's probably the same reason he wasn't like drinking in high school, or I can't see him really being like a big party or anything. Like a lot of hockey players look at like Tyler Seguin and shit like that, like or Patrick
Yeah.
Kane or something. Like he wasn't that person just because he dedicates his life to hockey,
Yeah.
and that's why
Yeah.
he's so good. Crosby is the best grinder that ever played the games, like behind the net in the corners. Crosby is going to beat anybody in the game.
He's
Almost
one of the
any time.
best to ever do it, man. I said something one time. I'm not going to say it on the show because I don't want people to kill me, but I believe
Yeah.
I'd put him in at like 4th all time.
Oh, that's a hot pick. I don't know that high, but definitely like I mean, if you don't have him in your top 10, then you've never watched this guy play, and you
No,
don't know the career he's had.
no.
My pick here is Brian Rust. Probably the opposite of Sidney Crosby, but no, just a great underdog, small forward, huge player in the playoffs. I didn't like him, or not that I didn't like him, but I didn't think he was as good as people were saying for the first like couple years he was in the league. But I'm definitely seeing it now. Like I don't know, this guy just works his bag off, like day in day out. He'll get you once he gets into playoffs and even in the regular season. Like this guy's a sick player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Brian Ross too.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with him. He's all right. No Crosby,
He's
but yeah, he's all right.
a good fellow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my
what
2
about the
cents on Brian
Sharks?
Ross.
Yeah, that's it.
Good fellow.
We're actually rebranding to the Brian. Jeez,
Brian Ross
the Brian
podcast.
Ross podcast. Follow
Everything
us on
Brian
Instagram, Twitter,
Ross.
Facebook, LinkedIn, MySpace,
Yeah.
Google Plus.
He just sits outside his window with a pair of binoculars every day.
That's
Figure out
right.
something to talk about when new episode airs.
We're actually having a special guest on the Brian Rust podcast next week. It's actually his wife and kids. We kidnapped them, and we're going to put him in a basement and interview him.
Yeah. Everything Brian Rust. This is your spot.
That's right. What about Eric Carl? Oh, Jesus.
Eric
San Jose Sharks.
Carlson. What
about Eric Carlson? Who's your favorite?
Who's your favorite
Eric Carlson on the San Jose Sharks?
Can I guess that your favorite player is Eric Carlson?
Oh man, actually it's wrong. It's Brian Rust.
Brian Rust. Oh my.
Yeah. Who's your favorite guy on the Sharks? Jesus.
James Reimer, former Leaf goalie. How do you not pick him, man? If you're a Leaf fan, I mean, he was a pride and joy of that team. He got too much hate when they lost in Game 7. I memean, Jake Gardner's a fucking bum.
Jesus, how did Jake get wrapped into this?
I don't know. He always finds a way when you're talking about the Leafs. But I mean, Reimer is just such a nice fellow. I mean, it seems like it anyways. I mean, we obviously don't know these guys personally, but from what we can tell, heart and soul that team. He carried them to the playoffs that year in that shortened season. and it's a sin he had to leave. And when I was younger, I always thought he was going to go down as one of the best, not the best, because you obviously have Johnny Bauer and guys like that. But I thought he was going to be one of the best goalies to be a Leaf. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But I love him anyways. I love him same
Yeah,
as I.
well, he's definitely up there when you're talking about guys like Vesataskala, though, for sure, and Jared Sparks. Oh, who was that goalie in Toronto back in the day? Justin Pogge.
Yeah.
I thought that guy was going to be a fucking superstar for some reason, probably just because I liked his name.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So my favorite Shark, if you don't know already, is Eric Carlson. I love the guy on Ottawa. He's my favorite defenseman for the longest time, probably until Victor Hedman started recently turned on. I got to give the nod to him now. But yep, best offensive demon for the first half of the last decade, I'd say. Great lettuce, rocket wife. So yeah, I don't know.
Good defenseman, man. He's fucking odd. He dropped off.
He kind of fell off.
He's
got a couple ankle injuries, dragging
hopefully
him down.
he gets him back on track and helps.
I hope so. I like to see him have at least one or two good seasons.
Yeah.
The new franchise of the NHL, Seattle Crackheads. Who's your favorite guy on this one?
My favorite Crackhead's got to be Colin Blackler.
Nice.
I mean, he had a breakout year in New York last year. He kind of pushed his way up the lineup and kept doing it, and they kind of had to play him at a certain point. And he just seems like he's really got a really good shot or something. I was watching him and he scored a few goals, and I was like, man, this dude's got a sick shot, and he's got a little bit of skill there, and I think he's a bit underrated. So it's nice to see him secure a full-time NHL role, and I think he's gonna do really good. Like I was saying, the last podcast, somebody's got to step up in Seattle and be a superstar. And I mean, Colin Blackwell could, out of the fucking bushes, just go jump out and score 25 goals or something. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. I could be totally wrong, and he could get like 3 goals and get sent to the minors, but I guess we won't know until it happens.
I hope not, man. I love underdog players. I'm pretty sure I said that like 17,000 times this podcast, but I'll say it again. I really like Colin Blackwell too. He came out of nowhere. I didn't know who the fuck he was, and then he just started turning it on. So yeah. My favorite guy in Seattle is Jordan Eberle. Easy pick there, good Canadian boy. Probably one of the best Canadian World Junior Championship performers of all time. His 2-goal game to put into overtime. In I can't remember the year, like 2012 maybe or something like that.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Just
before that, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could have been. It was around when Taylor Hall got drafted. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
2010.
Holy shit, I'm getting old.
Yeah, Ava.
Yeah, so he seems like a great guy off the ice. He seems so like, I don't know, innocent or wholesome or something. I fucking love him.
Yeah, man. He's got that call you the big red dog energy. Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not call you the big red dog. What's his name?
Caillou the big red balding dog.
The man dog, Caillou, man. What's his actual name?
The red dog. What the fuck was the red dog's name? Clifford. Holy shit.
I just called Jordan Eberle.
Oh my god.
We've been here for too long, man.
Yeah. Brain cells are starting to die.
Yeah. Big time. I'm sweating. The heat is getting warmer in here. What's on the go now?
Oh my god. So
let's move on.
At home, were you trying to refer to him as Clifford, the big red dog?
Yes, man, that guy. Yeah.
Why?
Not call you the big red dog. I don't know. Because you said he was wholesome, and I thought about Clifford, the big red dog. And you mentioned wholesome, so great guy, great locker room guy. I'm actually crying. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, Caillou's actually a little bitch in my opinion, man. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Moving on. What about St. Louis?
Former Leaf again. I mean, I'm just throwing former Leafs out of my ass. Tyler Bozak. I mean, I love this guy. Flozak, man, he had the best lettuce at one point.
Did he?
Really good in the shootout. Yeah, really good in the shootout. And he won the game in the shootout when they played Detroit in Winter Classic that year a while back. I don't know if you remember that.
That'd be tough.
So yeah, I mean he's a great player, man, and he just signed again with St. Louis. So I love seeing him stay in the league, and I would love to see him come back to Toronto at a league minimum deal before he retires, man. I think that'd be a great addition, especially if Jason Spezza next year decides to hang it up. I mean, you bring in a guy like Bozak, put him on the fourth line center. I mean, he's not going to do you any wrong. So
Yeah.
I love the guy, and won a cup. It's amazing. He's a great career, great player.
Yeah, great player. I like him too. I knew he was sick in shootouts too. I didn't know he won the game-winning goal against Detroit, but I'm kind of pissed off now. I kind of hate him.
Yeah.
No, I like Bozak too. He's always been a great little player.
Yeah.
My guy is Vladimir Tarasenko. I always used to pick him up in free agency and NHL games. Fucking love this guy. Great goal scorer. I think if he didn't get bummed out with so many injuries, I think he could have won a Rocket Richard like easy.
He's got talent.
He's got so much pure skill. Like I don't know.
He's that Russian
I don't know about
sniper.
He's for sure. I don't know about his
sniper.
work ethic that much. Like it doesn't seem like he works too hard. It seems like it's all pure skill. But I love watching him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, might get traded.
Yeah, I mean he wants to get traded.
Go. Yeah,
I don't think they're going to trade him because they're kind of worried about what return they're going to get. So
exactly, I think they'll let him play like and build up his trade value.
Yeah, definitely.
And then trade him.
Maybe a trade deadline addition. For a team who's looking to make a good platform.
For sure. Stanley Cup champions, Tampa Bay Lightning. Who's your player
here? Same guy I chose, and the underrated player is Braden Point. We already rambled on about him.
Yeah.
Just 2 Stanley Cups, could have won the Conn Smythe any of those years. Underrated. He's one of the best centers in the league. Does it all. So I mean, that's what more can you say about a guy? I mean, he's underrated and he's a really good player. I enjoy watching him, and the fact that he is underrated makes me enjoy it even more because I'm like, these guys don't know what they're missing.
Yeah, stud.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Big Red, Fat Pat Maroon. Fucking love this guy.
Yeah, he's second on my list. He's second on my list.
Oh man, he's great with interviews. He's had a great career, great story of how he came up through the ranks and like how he was playing with John Cooper. 3 cups, that's right. He wins everywhere he goes lately.
Yeah, he just wins everywhere.
Like how hard he must have had to work, just like that big body on him. Went to Edmonton, fucking had a pretty decent career, but I just got to pick where he went. Said, fuck it, I'm going back home. I want to win. And went to St. Louis, got his cup there. Said, fuck this. I got one. I'm getting
going down to Florida before I retire.
Yeah, you think? Yeah, go down there, get some sun with Tampa, and win 2 more. I mean, I hope he gets 4. Fuck it.
Yeah, I hope he signs with the Leafs next year.
Yeah, except for maybe Ovi and Kucherov. I mean, probably one of the best Stanley Cup partiers there is.
Oh yeah, man, he'd be wild. Have on to go. Maybe I'll invite him to my birthday party next year or something.
Yeah, I might invite him in on the podcast, see if you got time to come on.
Jeez, man, that's a good idea. No, we're not going to get anybody. Might get the ECHL Marcus Power.
Yeah, we'll see. No, I'd say we get a Newfoundland growler on here eventually.
Oh yeah.
Just need to sweet talk him a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm wearing the jersey, and you're wearing the jersey on your heart, the Toronto Maple Leafs. You got a favorite player on this team, or should we skip this one?
I do have a favorite player, and he takes a little bit of heat, and I think anybody who comes in and puts a C on their jersey takes a bit of heat, and that's John Tavares, man.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I think the hardest job in the league, just in a sense of having to do it every day and having to deal with it, is being the captain of Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that's the hardest job in the league.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Phaneuf was put through the ringer every
so hard,
fucking year he was there.
Always questioned.
Getting the same thing.
And I mean, Tavares came and scored 47 goals in his first year. He's an elite.
Yeah, that was an
player.
insane. That was an insane year. I couldn't believe he come in and do that. Just having to learn every new face in the locker room and stuff like that, and all the pressure he was given. It's insane.
I honestly think, I'm not saying this either, if John Tavares never got injured in last year's playoffs in game 1, I think Leafs were getting it around 1. Because Leafs only needed a few more goals, man, to win that series.
They only just
John-
lost the series.
John Tavares would have been that guy to get that overtime goal. He did it in New York. New York made the playoffs one year when he was there. He scored the overtime winner in a game. He's just, I love him, man. And I played hockey, man. And when I've always tried to base my game around John Tavares, even when he's on the island, I was like, man, I love this guy. He's my favorite player in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. He's my favorite player in the league. I love him. I play center in hockey, and I've always just I just watch him, and I was like, man, I want to be like John Tavares. I used to tape my stick white, and I gave that up. I was like, man, I can tape it black. JT tapes it black, and I don't know. I
Decent.
just love him. And I was I used to wear like fucking 8 and like these weird ass numbers, and I went and changed. I couldn't get 91, so I just went with 9, but I wanted to get 91 like Tavares, but I couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love the guy. I could go on for hours about how great of a
Same,
player
man.
I think
He
he
played
is.
on the Oshawa Generals. I watched him play for
Yeah.
years, man, when I was there.
Yeah,
It was a
very
treat.
talented.
It was a
Yeah.
treat. We're number 19 on Oshawa, believe it or not. And then he went to, I guess, Long Island, and either someone was 91 or, 19, or it was retired, wasn't it? Wasn't that Trotier's number or Bossy?
Some fella named Goring, wasn't it, or something like
Butch
that?
Goring? I'm not sure.
Or
if it was Butch
Gormley or
Goring.
something.
Nah, it would have been Bitch Goring. I'm not sure. Pretty sure I
Anyways,
just called the guy bitch. Anyway, yeah. Well, fucking
yeah.
couldn't be 19, so choose 91, and it's a pretty iconic number for him, even though like half the league is number 91.
Yeah.
My favorite Leaf is Mitch Marner. He's the best Leaf I've ever seen play. I've seen Sundin. I know that's a big thing to say, but
I
if
think
he
Matthews
continues
is
to,
better.
no, I think Mitch Marner is so much better than Matthews. I think just the goal
That's
scoring.
hot. That's
I
hot.
know that the goal scoring is definitely there from Matthews. It's not even a debate. Matthews is probably the best goal scorer in the league, but like overall player and just like the kind of player I like anyway, just the pass first kind of guy and just like the skill and stuff. I love watching this guy in London when he was in juniors. I love that he got just brought in right to Toronto because that's like his hometown and stuff. And I've loved to watch him ever since. It's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like a Marc-Andre Fleury kind of thing where he's always having fun playing the game too. Kind of the same thing with that I see from Caulfield, and that's why I like Caulfield so much too. It's just like they're always having fun. He loves the game so much. So that's my pick.
Marner just got engaged.
Go on.
His wife's right too, man.
Nice, man. Fuck, I love hearing that, dude. That's sick. Good for him.
Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, got the skill, got the nice lady. Yeah. Marner's good on camera too. He might have a career after. He does a lot of like insurance commercials and shit. I always see him doing commercials, man.
Yeah.
So
he got his mom involved in that and everything, man. His
go
mom's
on.
in
No, he never.
Yes, he did.
That's kind of a bad look, but
yeah. Well, he's looking out for family, man.
Yeah, that's right. Getting everybody securing the bag for everyone. Yeah, that's right. What about Vancouver?
I chose Brock Besser because I think he's got a wicked shot, and he's had a tough couple of years, man. I feel like injuries and stuff, and I don't know. I feel like he's just had a few years where he wish he could erase it and start over new, and I think he's going to have that mindset going into this season, and I think he can put up 40 goals, man. I think if not more, like he's got the shot, man. He's got that. I remember they played Pittsburgh in his rookie year, and he was just like fucking lighting up Matt Murray, making him look like a fucking fool. Like the dude's got amazing shot.
Yeah,
he could have. He's one of those players that could just sneak through one of these years and just win that one rocket and just sit back.
Yeah, he seems
got a lot
like
of talent,
type, man. Yeah, like a Jonathan Chichu type, eh?
Something like that. Yeah. But better, but better, but a lot better.
Oh yeah, don't be saying that, man.
Not the 1 year show, not the 1 year show.
No.
He showed up for 1 year in San Jose, didn't he?
Pretty much, and then he just fucked right off. You're right.
But Brock Besser's like could have that one Chichu year and then go back to being Brock Besser.
Yeah, I'll take his line mate, Elias Pettersson, or as the Swedes call him, Elias Pettersson. This guy, it seems like he has a great personality. I love watching him play. I love his shot. His hockey IQ is off the charts.
Yeah.
Everything about this guy, I love watching him play. Yeah, pretty much. Just
solid player.
Yeah, just a solid guy. What about Vegas? I know we've touched on them and how they've had a shaky last year and all the decisions they make, and they're kind of dickheads. But
you got
a favorite player on here?
I do. Recently re-signed Alec Martinez. You want
Nice.
to talk about a player who blocks shots? Alec Martinez blocks shots. This guy jumps in front of everything. He eats pucks, man. He plays well, man. He's like really underrated for getting the puck up ice. I mean, makes the first pass and he does it really well. They got him playing with Petrangelo, I believe.
Yep.
I mean, that's solid, man. That's really solid. And they got Theodore as well. They got a really good blue line in Vegas, and I think people talk about Theodore and they talk about Petrangelo and like you should, because those guys are great players. But Martinez just signed for around $5 million. He deserves every penny. He's that good of a player.
Game-winning goal from Los Angeles, but it's
Yeah,
time there.
won the cup. Yeah,
Yep. On the cup, that's got to be a fucking great feeling, eh?
yeah, can't imagine.
Yeah. My favorite is Alex Tuck. I love big body players, like huge forward. Doesn't really have the speed now, but he's working on it. Like amazing power forward. I think he'll be one of the best power forwards in the game pretty soon. I don't know. He's just missing that like first 3 steps to get him up to speed. But when he gets going, he's like a train and you cannot stop him.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about him. What about Washington?
I chose somebody who's on your list, underrated, Nicholas Backstrom.
Nice. Yeah, I love Backy.
I love Backstrom, man. He's just, I could go on about him like we did prior. I mean, he's underrated and he does it every year. So you got players like that in the league. They're definitely players to look up to. So, I mean, I can't say much more than that. He's a future Hall of Famer and he's an amazing player.
For sure. In my opinion as well. My guy would be TJ Oshie. Great set of mitts and he's always looking good on the ice.
Yeah.
Another guy who's fucking amazing, just like Troy Terry. I know that was like 13 hours ago we were talking about Troy Terry, but great guy, can put the puck in the net on breakaways and shootouts 4 times in international games. Just overall beauty of a player. I like watching him play. Just the plays he makes looks just real clean out there.
Yeah, he's got skill.
Yep. What about Winnipeg?
Winnipeg. I chose the leader, Blake Wheeler. Kind of
leader, Blake Wheeler.
Leader, Blake Wheeler.
I
just made that up, actually.
Are you going to trademark it, or
I should, man?
Should we get on?
People are going to be stealing that.
If I hear Elliot Friedman fucking say that once, I'm suing. I swear to God.
Oh yeah. I get the paperwork going. He's a great player, man. He kind of blossomed later in his career.
Yeah.
He puts up a lot of points. I don't think he's going to win a major award just because he doesn't have that. I don't know. He's not going to make that extra, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Get those extra 10 points he needs to win an award or something like that. But, consistent
he's always
player.
Up there.
Yeah, he's always up there. But I just feel like there's just so many players now with so much skill and score so many points that it just kind of makes it hard for a guy like that too. I mean, he could win the leadership award?
Mark Messier Leadership Award.
Yeah, so I mean, he's definitely in the running for that every year. I mean, he's a great leader, and I just recently heard a story where he bought some families groceries in a supermarket in Winnipeg because they didn't have their money on them. So I mean, he's all class, man, great leader.
Yeah.
How do you not like the guy? He's tough too.
I don't know. Tough as nails. I love that guy. Just like fine wine, just keeps on getting better as his age gets up there. My guy here would have to be Mark Scheifele. I fucking love this player. He's just such a student of the game, just always learning, just always watching hockey, just talks nonstop hockey. It'd probably be so annoying for like non-hockey fans, but I kind of see myself the same way. Like I'm always talking shop about hockey. Great hockey IQ. I mean, one headshot. I mean, we can look past that, I hope.
Jake, everybody except Jake Evans.
Exactly. No, he's only looking back now. I think he'll be the next captain when your guy Wheeler moves
feel
on.
Like, that's probably an easy choice. It's kind of shitty that he's suspended for the first game of the year.
Yeah, it does, but
he won't make that mistake again, headshotting some guy because they lost by a goal.
Yeah, exactly.
If he was in that series, it would have made all the difference.
Yeah, I know for sure.
Great player.
He wasn't having a great playoffs, but I mean, good enough. He still makes an impact when he's out there.
Yeah. So before we end, man, I know it's been a long ass time. and stuff. But I just like to have a few thoughts before we finish on some of the things that's going on before it's irrelevant. If you'd like to.
For sure, man. Let's get it done.
I want to know your thoughts on the Jack Eichel situation, man, and what you think is going to happen there. Because apparently he's attending. He's not attending training camp, but he's attending the physical, which is like a test to see if he's good enough to play, like if they can clear him to play. So, do you think he's going to play in Buffalo, or do you think he's going to get traded?
You're kind of switching up tables on me. You're asking me all
asking
the
you the
questions now.
questions.
I don't know. I think I wish Jack Eichel would go back to Buffalo. I hope he'd kind of just like put it past him and just say, all right, fine, you guys drafted me, you guys believed in me, let's work something out. But I don't see how that's possible. Just how vocal he's been on Twitter and how vocal his agent's been on how badly he wants to get out of Buffalo. Like you can't almost come back from that. It's kind of like going on Instagram live and just being like, my girlfriend is such a stupid bitch. Fuck that chick. I want out of this relationship. And then a week later, posting a picture of her, just be like, I love this girl so much.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. It's the exact same thing. You just can't come back from it. So I think he moves on. I don't know where he goes. If I had to throw out a couple guesses, I don't even know who's got cap space for him.
I feel like
people are saying New York Rangers and some people are saying Minnesota.
I think they're going to trade him to the West because I don't think Buffalo wants to have to deal with him anymore, at all. I just they want to forget Jack Eichel ever existed, which sucks because he's got so much talent. But things went sour, and if I was Jack Eichel, I'd be on the fucking bus now. I'd be gone. I'd just show up Minnesota for training camp and say like, "How's it going, boys? Get a deal done." Just throw on the gear and go on nice.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Would you rather have Jack Eichel or Kirill Kaprizov? Say you can only have one.
Oh, Kaprizov.
Oh man, that's such a wrong pick. You're nuts.
No, man, Kaprizov's so exciting. He's a savior of that organization.
Well, think about it this way. Some people were saying Jack Eichel could have went first overall instead of McDavid.
Yeah, but he never, for a reason. Kaprizov should have went first. He went like 137th or something.
Yeah, I'd say. Who else you got on that list?
Like I was just talking about, what do you think's going to happen with Kaprizov?
I think he signs. I think they work out something because, I think he for some reason I think that he loves attention, and I feel like you can kind of just say, "What are you going to go do? Bury yourself over in the KHL? Or you're going to play in the best league in the world?"
Yeah.
You know,
he's like posting pictures of him fishing while like everybody's commenting like, sign your goddamn contract. There was even an interview I watched on Minnesota's YouTube channel with Marcus Foligno about this upcoming year, and he's like, he better sign, because if he don't sign, I'm gonna go over there and drag his Russian ass back to America.
Holy fuck, imagine.
So I think he's gonna sign, but I think it's the deal to deal with the term, because I think Minnesota wants him 8 years, but Kaprizov's camp is more in the 4 to 5 year range, because he's going to want, if he keeps getting better, he might want that big $12-13 million payday. But I feel like it's more in the $8 to $9 million region at the moment.
Do you know how much he'd be getting paid in the K?
Not much.
No, they pay. Oh man, are you kidding me? They pay so much over in KHL. They got money. They got money to burn over there.
Yeah, but they can't sign him in the team he played before in SKA, because they're almost up to their league max cap, and I've seen that they'd only have like $1 million US if they converted it to sign him. So I think that's out of the question, because the dude's not playing for $1 million.
Dude, it's all run by the mob over there anyway. Like, if Kirill goes, I want to play with you guys, but I see you got more cap, he's like, all right, like this guy is on $8 million on the table. Making, yeah, probably, honestly, $8 million in signing bonus.
I'm gonna make a prediction here. He signs for 5 years at $9 million, and if he does it, I'm gonna be pretty proud of myself.
Nice, that'd be a good range for him. He definitely wants that big contract. I don't think he signs for 5. I'd say 3 or 4.
All right,
I'm trying to find a player in the league that I could compare him to who made that deal, but I don't know if there is one.
I feel like the next guy I wanted to ask you about is Elias Pettersson. I don't know if I don't know what the fuck how you say his name, but that's
Elias Pettersson.
Elias Pettersson. Apparently, I think what I've heard and what I've seen is that Minnesota's, when they get a deal done with Kaprizov, that's when Pettersson signs, because he feels like he's in the same territory. But I don't believe that. I feel like Kaprizov is a little bit more dynamic. I don't know if that's just bias. It's definitely biased, but
Yeah, it seems like Kirill got a bit more freedom where Elias just plays up and down the ice. Kirill just like I don't know what it is about him. The guy just flies around everywhere. Like he plays every position in the offensive zone, except for defense. The guy plays left wing, center, and right wing.
yeah,
When he's in the offensive zone. So I don't know. I think he signs more term, and they get him on a better contract that way because I think he does want to kind of be the leader there, and he kind of wants to be seen as, a team friendly guy. So I don't think he asks for a huge contract. I think he takes term instead and makes his money that way because I think he does want to stay in
I think he wants to
Vancouver.
stay too.
Because
And-
I mean they have great role models there, like the Sedin brothers, and they just brought in like I don't know.
Paul Horvat's one of the best captains in the league, in my opinion. He seems like such a great leader.
That's what everybody says, yeah. So for sure.
But
I think he does want to seem as team friendly as possible.
that's half the problem because they also got to sign fucking Quinn Hughes, and I don't think Quinn Hughes is very team friendly. Not saying that he's not a nice guy, but I think this guy wants to get a payday, and
I think he wants to go to New Jersey.
I would, yeah, I think he does, but I don't think it happens.
No,
I think this dude wants a payday. He's a defenseman who came in and got 50 to 60 points in his first year, and he lights it up every year. I mean, there's obviously defensive inconsistencies there, but if
I think he went
Hughes,
dash 22 last year.
If I'm Quinn Hughes, though, I don't give a fuck, man. I put 50 points on the board. Give me 8 or 9 mil for 5 or 6 years, or he probably wants 3 or 4 years, honestly, because he's like, I'm only getting better. I'm gonna get paid more.
Yeah.
So they got bringing in OEL's contract, signing Connor Garland to 5x5.
Yeah. It doesn't leave a lot of room for those guys.
No, man. It makes there's big issues in Vancouver when it comes to figuring that out, and that's why I think Jim Benning's not that good of a general manager, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
But the last guy I got wrote down here, I want to have a conversation about before we end everything, would be Brady Tkachuk, because he's not signed as well. And, we're viewing him as probably the future captain of the team. So what do you think happens there?
He signs. He fucking loves it there, man. He definitely signs.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's asking for, but he's got a lot of money to work with. So if I was Brady, I'd be shooting for the stars. I'd be saying, give me 12 million. And then he'd be like, no, we're giving you 6. And then they'd be like, all right, I'll take 10. And it's like, no, you'll take 8. He's like, okay, I'll take 9. They're like, fuck, after taking 8. And then he just wants to stay there. So he'd be like, yeah, I'll take 8. Fuck it.
Apparently Ottawa wants to sign him to 8x8. And I think that's a really good deal.
I think it is too.
I think that'd be good for both sides.
I think it would be too. That's very fair. I think
that's a fair deal for both sides.
And then, but in a couple of years, I mean, in 5 years, he'd have 3 years left on that 8 mil. And I mean, by then the cap's going to be going up, and he's going to turn into so much of a bigger player than he is now. Yeah. So I mean, he's leaving money on the table there. But for right now, 8 million is a perfect number for Brady, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good number, man. But I feel like he's probably looking at 5 years or 4 years. And Ottawa likes to sign guys long term. They got Shabbat on 8x8, so I don't know. I think that's what they're looking for, but I think you're getting closer to training camp. Just sign a guy for 8 mil for 4 or 5 years, just to fucking worry about this year, and we'll worry about that when the time comes again. So that's my opinion. Yeah, that's all I got wrote down there, man. So I feel like we're getting to the end here.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's a good place to leave it with a bit of a contract talk.
Yes,
all right,
definitely.
Folks at home, thank you so much for tuning in to the Hockey Tank podcast. I can't wait to talk to you again next week and see what funny and insightful shit we get into.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya.